Mariners Spring Training on Root Sports is presented by Delta Airlines. Keep climbing.
Be honest, fans, your bracket is busted just like ours, so now it's time to turn your attention from the hardwood to America's national pastime as the Mariners Spring Training, presented by Delta Airlines, continues tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks, right there from the Peoria Sports Complex. And for just the second time this preseason, this spring, Felix Hernandez will be taking the mound. Part of a Mariners split squad as the King gets ready for opening day, which is now just over 2 weeks away, April 4th in Texas. Thanks for joining us here in prime time on Saturday night.
I love it. Love Saturday night baseball.
Yes, alongside our baseball analyst, Mr. Dave Valley. I am Brad Adam. All right, your bracket, busted. It's got to be.
But I had Yale going all the way, so.
Well, that's probably why.
Yeah.
See, I had Michigan State. You were thinking.
You were done
thinking
then.
Underdog. I like this guy. Okay, well, if you're making a bracket, okay, for pitchers in baseball, Felix Hernandez, he would have to be a pretty high seed. I'm guessing probably a number one, maybe number one overall, right? He gets the ball for the Mariners tonight as we take a look at our Lexus pitching matchup. Felix going up against, how about Arizona's Tyler Wagner? Now, you see some of the numbers there. For Felix, he had one start, kind of mixed numbers. Yes, he did strike out 5, but allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, and 2 1/3 innings pitched. All right, Val, we know not to read too much in the spring training stats, especially when you're talking about Felix, but what can you take out of his first start?
Well, Brad, you know, from your first start, you really aren't even looking at what he did out there. You wanted to know, are you healthy? How did you feel? Did you have some good rhythm out there? How are you working with your new catcher? Those are the things that were probably most important. I don't think anyone's concerned about the 6 hits or the 3 runs, but he did have good command of that changeup. That was one of the best pitches. The area that he struggled with was the location of his fastballs. He got a lot of those elevated in the strike zone, and that's what the opposing team was able to take advantage of. But I think in start number 1, you just want to make sure that he's out there, he's feeling healthy, he comes off the field and says, hey, I feel good, and that's all that matters at this point in spring training for the King.
And get ready for the next start, and, of course, get ready for his opening day start, which I do believe was his, I think that's going to be his 9th in a row, extending his team record, which is fantastic for him. And when we talked to Felix after his last start, he certainly was not worried about giving up the 3 runs. As for what's ahead tonight, Mike Blauer's caught up with the King yesterday to find out.
Well, Felix, we're now at the midway point of spring training. It looks like you guys have had a lot of fun this spring, but you also have to get your work in. We saw you on the big field the other day for the first time. How are you feeling overall?
Overall, feeling good, man. I mean, I got one more tomorrow and got 4 or 5 innings tomorrow, I think it is. And then 2 more, and I'll be ready for April 4.
Approximately how many pitches do you think you'll go through tomorrow?
I think last time was 50, so this time could be 70, something like that.
Okay, and I looked in your last outing. You looked like you had a really good changeup. I loved your curveball again. Is there going to be anything in particular the fans that are watching the game see you that you're going to be working on, or are you just going to try to get people out?
Just trying to get people out. I mean, I think I need to get more command in my fastball, and if I get more command in the fastball, then my curve will be better, my changeup will be better, so I'm going to work on that tomorrow.
It's interesting. A lot of people have talked to me, and typically when we go to other cities, they always talk to me about your changeup. But in fact, last year, your curveball was one of the best pitches in baseball.
Yeah.
Like hardly hit anything, but you didn't throw your curveball for a few years. Why last year did you decide you're going to bring that back?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I mean, I realized that people were looking for my changeup, so I started using more of my curveball, and it worked. But, you know, I just want to mix every pitch in my stuff and trying to get people out.
Thanks again for your time.
No problem.
Felix trying to get people out. There you have it from the King himself. Working on that fastball, like Val said. He's going to be on the mound against the Arizona Diamondbacks in just a matter of minutes when Mariners Spring Training, presented by Delta Airlines, continues.
Love watching your favorite team
Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Delta Airlines. Keep climbing. And by Frontier Communications, providers of next-generation Fios TV and Internet. All righty, Fifi is making his way out to the mound. Franklin Gutierrez was going to play right field tonight, scratched late valve because of a flu, but super year last year. As we take a look at what's next, brought to us by CenturyLink, and getting off to a great start in spring. He certainly figured out how to stay healthy and when to play.
Yeah, he has picked up right where he left off in the second half of last season. In fact, the last 35 games, he was outstanding, hit 12 home runs. Now he's got 4, which leads the team, and he only has 18 at-bats. But I think if he stays in this platoon rotation, I think you're going to see him produce and be a guy that Scott Service can count on.
We saw it last year, 15 home runs in limited play. So Goody getting it done, but again, out tonight. No Goody, no Paul Goldschmidt, but we do have Aaron Goldsmith out there with Mike Blowers in Peoria. Getting ready
Who's a
to call
wordsmith?
this game tonight. Who's a wordsmith? That's right. It's Aaron and Mike Blowers. Guys?
Gentlemen, that's a big league transition if I've ever heard one. So glad you could join us for Cactus League Baseball here on a warm, beautiful evening from the Peoria Sports Complex. Aaron Goldsmith alongside Mike Blowers, our entire Root Sports crew. And both these teams playing a split squad earlier today. The Mariners losing over in surprise against the Royals. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks winning against the Rangers 11-1. And Mike, it's nice to be able to say, for the first time to you at least in 2016, happy Felix Day.
Happy Felix Day, and it's good to have you over here on the TV side, Aaron.
There's some more cables, less identification for legal IDs, but we'll get through it together.
You'll be fine.
But it's always exciting when the King is on the mound, and as the guys were talking about in the studio, his last start, his first start in Cactus League play against the Rockies, the numbers weren't exactly there, but based on the conversation that he had with you, he felt great, and that's what really counts.
That's the most important thing for him. He only went 2 1/3. He wanted to go 3 innings. He struggled with his fastball command, so his pitch count was getting up on him. They had to take him out of the game a little bit earlier than he wanted to.
The King comes home with the first pitch. Brito socks it into right field. And the Diamondbacks have the first man aboard, and Mike Capita look at tonight's starting lineup from Chip Hale, the Diamondbacks.
And hitting second will be Ahmed, the shortstop. Owens playing second base and hitting third. The local product, Jake Lamb, hitting cleanup, playing third base. Lamb having a good spring, hitting .333 with the home run. The former Mariner, Ricky Weeks, the DH for the Diamondbacks tonight. Then it is Borenstein and right field, O'Brien at first, Hayes, the catcher, and Marzilli in center.
Socrates Brito, one of the great names in baseball, aboard at first base with a single. It brings in Nick Ahmed, shortstop for the Diamondbacks. Felix, as he always does, working in long sleeves, something he does day or night, no matter what month of the year it is. He says that it helps him soak up the sweat that might drip down and get on his pitching hands, so a pretty veteran move there.
And he's probably happy that it's a night game, although it is around 80 degrees here at game time.
Felix now 29 years old. He'll turn 30 when the Mariners open up at home on April 8th. As Lind can't quite put a glove on that. A little wild from Felix, and Brito down to second base on an error by the King.
We'll take a look at the throw. High, you can see it running back away from Lind. Brito with good speed makes it to second without a play.
So that single looks like a double. 0-1 the count still to Ahmed. If you look at active pitchers now in the game, Felix third among active starting pitchers in strikeouts. The numbers have been incredible. Only CC Sabathia and the immortal Bartolo Colon have more strikeouts among active pitchers than Felix. Broken bat, ground ball. Easy play for Marte for round number 1. Brito into third. As we heard some chants from King's Court, it sounded like here from inside the Peoria Sports Complex.
That's typical, isn't it, with Felix on the mound?
I would say so.
Aggressive base running from Brito right there. Typically when the ball is hit in that area, you'll stay at second base, but he has good speed. Decided to take a chance and was able to make it into third. The only play for Marte was to get the out at first.
So Felix right away working with the man 90 feet from home. He faces Chris Owens, the second baseman for the Diamondbacks. This tonight, the second time the Mariners are facing Arizona in spring training. Diamondbacks beat the Mariners earlier this year here in Peoria. We saw the Mariners last year at Safeco Field in interleague play. Diamondbacks swept that 3-game series.
And the Mariners have the shift on with Owings hitting. Another good curveball from Felix Cano on the left side of the infield.
And there's no doubt we're seeing more shifting by the Mariners infielders this spring, especially in situations like this. A right-handed hitter in years past, we'd only see not just the Mariners, but almost any team only shift against a left-handed hitter.
Things are changing every year, Aaron. I think these guys have so much information. Why not take advantage of it?
Count goes to 1-2 on Owings. It depends on what source you look at, but roughly speaking, the Mariners last year were 24th in Major League Baseball in defensive shifts. And I think it's safe to say that we're going to see that number go up to easily the top 10 based on the rate that we've seen already in Cactus League play. First strikeout tonight for the King. Out number 2, and Brito has to stay put at third.
And it's a great example of what makes Felix great. He said he wanted to come out and compete today, and with a runner on third base and just one out, he went to his changeup and a couple of really good curveballs to get the strikeout. And we'll see that all season long. His ability to throw his breaking ball or his changeup, regardless of the count, especially when he is in trouble, is what separates him. I mean, it's great stuff, but a lot of pitchers don't have the confidence to do that.
That brings in the local product, Jake Lamb, 25 years old. I put the shift on for Lamb. Bishop Blanchette High School went on to play at UW. Played for Lindsey Meggs there. Missed some time last year. 6 weeks he was out because of a foot injury. That happened early in the season, but overall a full year in the big leagues with the Diamondbacks. Mike, we had a chance to watch Lamb in person in that series at Safeco Field. An impressive young player.
Oh, he's a really good player. He can do a lot of different things. And again, he's having a good spring, hitting .333 with a home run. It seemed as if when he was brought up to the big leagues, he made an impression right away. And so he'll be a big part of their lineup this year.
Brito at third. He singled, moved over to second base on the air by Felix, and then advanced to third on the ground ball out by Ahmed. 3-0.
And although Felix missed with that curveball, that's an example of what I was talking about. Behind the count, 2-0, he's not going to give in to the hitter. So he tried to throw the curveball for a strike, and he missed with it.
First 3-ball count tonight for Felix, facing his fourth batter. And a 4-pitch walk. 2-out walk puts runners on the corners for the Diamondbacks, and it brings in Ricky Weeks. And we remember Weeks from last year. Eventually was designated for assignment by the Mariners over the summer. Played in just about 40 games in a Mariners uniform last season. Signed a minor league deal with the Diamondbacks. Invite to Major League camp. Longtime second baseman for the Brewers. Missing high again, ball 1 to Weeks. A change you can see on the nameplate there, Ricky Weeks Jr. these days. He's got Brito at third, Lamb aboard at first base. Hard hit smash, Lucas snares. Long toss, but a good one. And Felix strands runners on the corner. We played 1/2 inning here from Peoria. Diamondbacks nothing, and the Mariners coming up. Presented by Delta Airlines. No scores. We go to the bottom of the first inning, and Mike have a look at the Mariners starting lineup tonight.
Some speed at the top of the lineup. Martin going to lead things off, and then it is Marte. Robinson Cano will hit third. What a spring he's having. .333 average with 3 home runs. Nelson Cruz with his first home run in yesterday's ball game will back cleanup. Lynn back in the lineup hitting 5th, and it's Clevenger, the catcher, hitting 6th. Navarro, Lucas, and Pisano round out the 9 for the Mariners.
First inning in the books for Felix. Stranded a couple of base runners. And Mike, we talked earlier in the top half of this inning about a split squad for both teams. So for Scott Service, for Chip Hale, these are some long days in the desert.
They are long days for them, and they've had a number of split squad games, but that's part of the deal. It's also a long day for a guy on his birthday, 50th birthday for Tim Heavley today. He was at both ball games. He was there this afternoon, and he's here tonight.
Yeah, I ran into him along the backfields today. I tried to convince him, Tim, take a night off. You already put in 9 innings. You don't have to do 18. They wouldn't hear it.
That's right.
It is Martin to begin things for the Mariners. Bunts it back foul. Mike, I know we've talked about this individually, off the air, on the air, in various forms, but getting a guy like Martin for the Mariners this year, you knew was at the top of Jerry DiPoto's list. Get a center fielder who could impact offensively as well. And we've enjoyed watching Martin for years now in Arlington, even though it was at the expense of the Mariners. But this seems like the perfect fit for what the Mariners are looking for.
Well, I think that you're right. And throughout the spring, we've talked about his throwing arm, and he has a great arm. But one of the things that Jerry talked about when he took over towards the end of last year is he needed somebody in center field that could cover a lot of ground. And that's exactly what we've seen from Martin. And for me, watching him play center field, he reminds me a lot of when Franklin Gutierrez was out there. Same way that they run after the ball. They just kind of glide to it. And it seems if it's going to stay in the ballpark, they'll catch it.
Martin down on strikes. Good start for Tyler Wagner, the right-handed starting pitcher tonight for Arizona. 25 years old, out of Las Vegas. Went to Bishop Gorman High School, the same high school that produced Don Roach, who's in camp for the Mariners, and also Joey Gallo, the slugging infielder for the Rangers. We saw him yesterday.
Wagner hoping to have a good outing. 5.40 ERA in spring. He's given up 3 home runs.
First pitch missing to Ketel Marte. Marte went back home to the Dominican over the winter. Said he put on about 10 pounds.
If something happens, you guys can cheer, okay? Okay. So if we get like a home run or something.
Ketel Marte looked like he filled out rather. As he came to camp this year. An impressive first dip into the majors last season.
We're going to get that 10th man going sometime here.
Back a couple of steps. O'Brien over to Wagner covering.
And we'll take a look at it. Marte is going to pull this ball on a tricky second hop. O'Brien started to charge it, but decided to give some ground. And it almost, that top spin, the second spin, especially down here in the desert, can fool a lot of infielders, but he was able to handle it.
2 up, 2 down for Wagner. He faces Robinson Cano. Did you see photos of the superhero batting practice with Cruz and Cano?
No, I did not.
Well, it was Robbie's idea. This is what Nelson confirmed earlier today.
Okay.
Cruz had a Superman shirt and a cape. He actually had a red cape, and Robbie was Robinson, so Batman and Robin. The original idea was for it to truly be Batman and Robin. Cruz, of course, being Batman, but apparently Cruz just maybe filled out the Superman T-shirt a little bit better. But as we've talked about a couple of times, this has been a fun spring training in the right way for these guys, and well, that was part of it. Here comes the 1-1 to Cano. Right in line to Ahmed. 3 up, 3 down for Wagner. We're through 1 inning here in the desert. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines. Scoreless as we start things off at the top of the second. And fans, if you're still looking for tickets to next month's home opener, then visit mariners.com/opening night. You'll find information on how you can guarantee your seat by purchasing a 10-game flex pack or a 20-game plan. Check it out today at mariners.com/opening night. Felix back out there for his second inning of work. A walk and a base hit, an error committed by Felix in the first inning. Was able to get out of a jam with runners on the corners with 2 outs. He'll face right fielder Zach Bornstein to begin things in the top of the second.
And for Felix in the first inning, his fastball was still up a little bit. So we'll see if he can make an adjustment now that he's through the first. That's the location that he wants to stay in right there.
We talk all the time about the changeup and the serious bite that the changeup has. It was interesting a couple of seasons ago talking to a hitter from another team in the division who faced Felix a lot. And he said that one of the things that was preached in the hitters meeting that day before facing Felix was, if it looks low, it's only going to get lower.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the things that it used to be the same way with guys that had the good split.
Off Felix's glove. Cano, the backhand, and a flip over to first base.
He makes it look easy, doesn't he, with that backhand and the little flip? And it was a perfect throw, too.
He'll take another look.
He could do a lot of those things because he really has a shortstop's arm. He has as strong as arm as any second baseman in either league.
Here comes O'Brien. Three ground outs for Felix. No, go ahead.
To your point on his changeup and teams saying if the ball is down to let it go. That's why it's important for Felix to be able to locate his fastball at the knees.
A hop into left field. Navarro will play it there.
Another elevated fastball. He makes doing that to him a lot more difficult when he's able to locate his fastball at the knees. Because now, when you think about his changeup, it's only 3 miles an hour separation from his fastball. It makes it much tougher to lay off of it. Because as a hitter, you can't tell the difference.
You have no idea.
No.
1 out, 1 on. Here is Brett Hayes, the catcher. Hayes slams this into left field. Navarro turning around. Will have to play it off the fence. O'Brien trots it to third. He'll put on the brakes there. 1 out, runners on the corners for the Diamondbacks.
Well, this is going to be on the fastball again in the middle of the plate. You can see the location of it. In Felix's last outing, the offense was really aggressive on pitches early in the strike zone. They did not want to fall behind him.
One out, 2 on. There is Marzilli, the center fielder. That's kind of been an evolution that we've seen from opposing hitters against Felix. How to attack Felix Hernandez. It seemed like there was a time years ago where you try to foul off pitches, make them work, get that pitch count up. But it seems like, Mike, in recent years, if you're 0-2 against Felix, I mean, that's almost death imposed on you right there. And so this idea of attacking early seems to be the recent mindset.
It is, and I think that Felix now understands that, and that's the reason why you see the first pitch right here is his changeup. He comes right back with a changeup. The hitter's out in front of it expecting to get the fastball, wanting to be aggressive. This is with that curveball. But Felix, that's something that he'll make adjustments on fairly quickly. When I can think of clubs last year, Houston was a club. Because they ended up striking out a lot, so they certainly didn't want to fall behind, so they were very aggressive with him.
2 balls and a strike to Marzilli. He's got Hayes at second, O'Brien at third. Felix was able to get out of trouble with 2 on in the first inning. Trying to do that again here in the second. So from Felix's point of view, you mentioned coming home with that first pitch changeup. Is that the best way for somebody like Felix to counteract guys coming up there ready to hack?
I think so. I think you have to put some doubt in their mind on whether they're going to get a fastball early in the count or not. And if you can do that and his changeup is one of the best in the business, then at that point I think it's kind of an equalizer for his fastball. Then if he's able to locate his fastball after that, then you're in trouble as a hitter.
2-2.
And you look at this game tonight, all 3 hits off of Felix have been on the first pitch. So.
And Brito singled on the first pitch to begin the ball game. And then O'Brien, the single, and now Hayes, the double. Still 2-2.
And this could be a little bit tougher for Felix because this is spring training and he's still working up his pitch count and his arm strength.
One quick hop, snared there by Cano. Will go to first base. That's a glove work by Robinson. Diamondbacks on the board. 1-0 Arizona.
Well, he hits this one on the button. You can see a curveball. Does a nice job of staying on it in a one hopper. Easy play for Cano.
Hayes moves into third base, so 2 outs, a man 90 feet from home, and it's back to the top of the order to Socrates Brito. Brito, a minor leaguer in the Diamondbacks organization. Good stop there by Clevenger.
From time to time, as I'm driving around here, I'll listen to some of the local sports, and I wanted to see Brito. I was glad to see him in the lineup tonight because they've been raving about him. Just what an athlete he is, how good a hitter he's going to be. They like him a lot.
He jumped on that first pitch from Felix to begin the ball game. Lined a single into right field. You know, in recent years in the minors, they've done a minor league moniker madness, where they have a bracket, speaking of the tournament, of the best names in minor league baseball. And last year, I was looking it up, Mike, I don't think they did one last year, because you would think that Socrates Brito, that's a surefire #1 seed and a winner.
I can tell already that you're enjoying it.
Tailing line drive, softly hit there to Lucas for out number 3. Rock Shoulders, by the way, won a couple of years ago. We go to the bottom of the second. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines. 1-0 as Nelson Cruz getting set to lead things off in the bottom of the second. And Mike, yesterday we saw Cruz go deep and an opposite field shot.
It was great to see him hit the home run, but the main thing is that he hit it out to right center. He had to stay on that pitch. A fastball was on the outside corner, elevated a little bit for him. But I know a lot of people were talking about him, 0 for 16 or whatever he started the spring with. He wasn't worried about it at all. And I think it's, for somebody like him, it'll be more important that last week for him to square the baseball up. But it was nice to see him get that home run out of the way.
Mike, this is something we've talked about before, but what's it like for a hitter, even an all-star caliber hitter, a veteran hitter like Cruz, when you come to camp and all of a sudden you're seeing live pitching as this bat explodes? You're seeing live pitching for the first time since the end of the season. I mean, even for a trained eye, that's still a shock at first, isn't it?
It is. You have to retrain yourself. I can tell you one of the worst things is when you, and it's a little bit different now because these guys jump into games fairly quickly, but when we used to come down and the first 5 days, you're taking live batting practice off the pitchers who'd have already been down here for a week to 10 days. And I'm telling you, to your point, Aaron, you take all the batting practice in the winter and you try to keep your hands strong and your swing right and all those things. But all of a sudden, 92 looks like it's 100. And it takes a little bit of time. And then the next thing you have to do, you get into these games, you have to start recognizing the breaking ball and the changeup. Sometimes it takes time, especially if mechanically things aren't where you want them to be. And that's basically what these guys are trying to do. They're trying to get to the point to where when they break camp, they're able to slow this game down. And what I mean by that is recognize pitches, and a 92-mile-an-hour fastball actually looks that way to you. But it's a good point. You have to retrain yourself.
Here comes the 1-2 to Cruz. Off the hands. They had the shift on. Owings to first. Did you find for you that some springs it came faster than others?
Yes. Yeah, it's different. You know, and we've had a chance throughout our broadcast to talk to these guys once they're out of the games, and I've asked them that question because it definitely was that way for me, and they all say the same thing. You just don't know from year to year. Sometimes it clicks right away. We had Seth Smith on, and that's what Seth was talking about, off to a great start this spring. But the big thing is they want it to be there towards the end of camp when they're getting ready to go live.
Peak at the right time.
That's right.
First pitch to Lynn to strike. Now Lynn's been a little under the weather.
He has been. We've talked about it. Gutierrez out of the lineup tonight because of the flu, and it's working its way through the clubhouse. And it's good to see Lynn back in the lineup, get his work in.
Now Lynn facing a right-handed pitcher. This is what he does best, of course. One out, nobody on. This is line into right field. Bornstein on a skip. One out single there by Adam Lind. MLB.TV Premium, everything you have come to expect and more. New, low price for 2016. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. Visit Mariners.com for details. One out, one on for Steve Clevenger.
Clevenger having a solid spring, hitting .286 on the spring. It will be the backup to Chris Iannetta.
Lynn the single, leads at first. Slicing and a foul ball. Now, Clevenger is from Baltimore, played for his hometown team in the Orioles before coming over to Seattle. If you talk to Steve Clevenger, I mean, you'd think you'd be talking to somebody who grew up in the deep South his whole life. He went to college for 1 year in Louisiana, and like that, picks up the accent.
It had an impact.
It had an immediate impact. You would never guess that he's from Baltimore. 1 year, that's all it took.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to him once he's out of the game tonight.
Broken bat, little flare, drops in. Lynn puts on the Jets on his way to third as Marzilli stumbles, and the Mariners have him on the corners with one out.
Well, this is going to jam him a little bit, but he's strong, able to fight it off. Finds some outfield grass, and Lynn going to third all the way. Didn't think about stopping.
Lynn aboard at third, Clevenger at first.
Seeing Lynn running around the base right there. We have a great crowd here tonight.
Terrific crowd. This is easily 10,000 plus. First pitch strike to Navarro. Tying run at third base for the Mariners. The go ahead at first. Navarro, one of the many new faces in camp this year. Drafted and developed by the Angels. And he is one of few who can say that they were drafted in the, well, no longer in existence, 50th round and made it to the major leagues. Last year it was just Navarro and Gerard Dyson, World Series winner with the Royals, were drafted in the 50th round and made it to the major leagues. Wagner off the mound. Applies the tag. The Mariners have tied this one up. Lynn comes down the line and scores from third. We're all even at one. That one out single by Lynn comes all the way around to score. Clevenger is singled. He's now at second. Two outs for Ed Lucas. Lucas getting the start tonight at third base with the scratch of Goody because of the flu. It had a little bit of a shuffling effect to the lineup card. We were going to see Chris Taylor at third base, but instead it's Lucas to play third, and Dario Pisano on deck will DH. Casey Candel fields the ground ball. Talk about a character, Mike.
Even with the shin guard on. He had some protection. Casey always has a good time.
Along with being the Mariners' new first base coach, it's Casey who is the main point person in terms of base running this year for the Mariners. Point of emphasis for sure. Right back to Wagner. Quick bobble. Low throw, but he kept his foot on O'Brien, able to make the out. That'll do it for 2 innings. The Mariners get on the board, though. Navarro, the RBI groundout, as we go to the third. Mariners and the Diamondbacks all tied up.
No, where you're watching tonight's game from. Show us by sharing photos of you and your friends cheering on your team. Use the hashtag #WhereIRoot on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and you could be featured on air just like Melissa, who watched Kent Ridge High School beat Auburn Riverside today at Safeco Field, the high school baseball classic. Melissa also happens to be the wife of Pike Parker, our producer out there in Peoria. And as we go out to Aaron and Mike, I want to say hello to Pike. And guys, I want to make sure he's not working you too hard today.
Well, no comment on that, Brad, but it's good to have Pike with us as always.
Pike has been great.
Fantastic. It'll be Nick Ahmed to lead things off in the top of the third inning. Felix a walk and a strikeout. 3 hits and a run so far for the Diamondbacks against the King. Ahmed, a ground out victim his last time up. You know, Mike, you had a chance to talk to Felix before the game about his curveball. This is a pitch that Felix really did not get enough credit for last season, which just kind of reappeared as this just tremendous offering for the King. We always think about the changeup, and good for good reason. But last year, it was truly one of the best curveballs in Major League Baseball. You think about a guy like Clayton Kershaw right away when you think about a great curveball. Opponents hit 134 against it. He gave up 3 extra base hits on the curve. None of them were home runs.
Well, I think that you have to go all the way back and try to remember when Felix first broke into the big leagues. He was a power pitcher, 95 to 97, with a curveball, and a really good curveball. But I think what happened is he developed his changeup, which was an exceptional pitch. And you talk about last year, people not really talking about it. It's one of the things that I asked him about, and it was basically because when you think of Felix, you think of the great changeup that he has, and it is. It's one of the best pitches in baseball. But he decided to throw his curveball a little bit more because he wanted something else other than his changeup for the hitters to think about. And he said when he first started to throw it, it came right back to him. It was a good one, and he decided that he's going to continue to throw it. And as you said, with the numbers that you just gave us, there was good reason for that. And I think that I talked to him. He says he's going to continue to do it this year too. And that's why I think that for Felix, even as much as he's pitched and he's been in the big leagues for 11 years now, I think that he'll pitch as long as he wants to. A really good curveball right there is a good example of it, because I think that he'll continue to evolve and change and do things. He's not a guy out there just trying to throw it past everybody. He is one of the best pitchers you're going to see, and that's a really good curveball. It's a good sign right there.
I mean, this really speaks to his intelligence with how much he's already evolved, and he's turning 30 in April.
And he has a great feel. We talk about it from time to time, and it's difficult, I think, for pitchers to do it, but to throw a pitch, see how a hitter reacts to it, and make an adjustment off of that. And Felix is really good at that. And, the last thing with him is he pitches with supreme confidence.
There comes the 0-1 to Owings. And then the satellite version of Kings Court will be up and standing here on an 0-2 count. Felix now with 2 strikeouts. And he gets him on 3 pitches.
Well, we'll take a look at it. It looks as if he has everything working, and the thing that's the most important, I think, for Felix in this inning is all the fastballs that he has thrown. That was the changeup, but all the fastballs that he has thrown have been down in the zone and on the corners, and that's something that he wanted to work on tonight. Again, he's going to be right around 70 pitches. You can see he's 37 pitches so far.
Kings Court here inside the Peoria Sports Complex. First pitch in out of the glove. Lucas over on the shift. Jake Lamb with 2 outs aboard. That'll go down as an error on Lucas. 2 outs for Ricky Weeks. Lamb aboard at first. So Lamb will walk, now reaching on the air. Along the lines of Felix evolving, we heard some really good quotes last year from Torrey Hunter, who just retired. And Hunter, over the course of his career, had really gotten to Felix. I mean, his numbers against Felix were very good. And last year, in a game against the Twins, Felix held Hunter to something along the lines of 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 and a couple of strikeouts. It was clearly one of the better efforts for Felix against Torrey Hunter. And talking to Hunter the next day inside the Twins clubhouse, he said, Felix attacked me in a completely different way than he ever had before. Everything was high, got me chasing it, everything chinning up, and fastballs up, changeup's low, and whatever it was, the combination was, well, entirely different. And you can see Felix changing, not just evolving overall, but also from batter to batter. As Navarro gets the catch to end the inning, Lamb left at first base, and we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Mariners won, Diamondbacks won. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines.
It's more than the
at the Ford Sports Desk. Welcome back. Now, you may have heard that the Mariners have launched a new initiative this year called Junior Mariners, aimed at connecting kids across the Northwest with Mariners baseball. And the team hosted a pretty cool event yesterday at Safeco Field called Kids Spring Training. Youngsters had the opportunity to participate in various on-field activities, receive special wiffle balls and wiffle ball bats, more importantly, and even indulge in their favorite ballpark foods. Meet the Moose, too. Another great event put on by the Mariners staff. Spring training yesterday. The real spring training. Let's get it back, bottom of the 3rd. It's Aaron and Mike.
All right, thank you, Brad. It's Dario Pisano batting 9th and DHing. Pisano, a top 30 prospect for the Mariners. Played his college ball at Columbia. Had a great career in the Ivy League before getting drafted by the Mariners. 24 years old. 15th round pick back in 2012. And Pisano down on 3 pitches. That'll take us back to the top of the order to Leonis Martin. Mike, you were talking earlier about Martin's arm strength, which we've seen, well, we saw in Texas, we've seen already right away here in spring training. He was showing me today at his locker a heavy ball that he uses to maintain, if not build, his arm strength even a little bit more. And it's basically,
I've seen pitchers do it.
Yeah, it's essentially a baseball that's painted like a tennis ball. It's bright yellow. And he said that during the offseason he'll play long toss with it. And Lamb can't make the catch, lost it up high. And Martin looked like a sure out number 2. Instead, he's aboard at first base. That's an error on Lamb.
And we'll take a look at it. It's straight up in the air. It's a mile high, and not sure if Jake had a tough time seeing it, but it looked like it was curving back towards the field of play and fooled him a little bit. They have different weights for those different types of baseballs that you're talking about, the weighted baseball.
He seemed to think that his was about twice as heavy as a normal baseball.
As a normal baseball, yeah. I've seen it. I've seen pitchers use those.
Have you seen an outfielder before, though?
No.
He said he's been doing it his entire career with the heavy ball.
Right.
Fernando Rodney had a softball which basically had holes drilled into it with weights added.
Right.
But this was regulation size.
But the difference is he wasn't throwing that softball with the weights. Basically, he would hold it in his hands and he would move it around a little bit because of the weight, so that when he picked up the baseball, it felt smaller in his hand and it felt really light. You get the feeling that you can throw it through a wall if you want to.
First pitch to Marte. Misses for ball one.
But with the weighted ball, you also have to know what you're doing and be careful with it. Because if kids use those things and they don't have somebody to teach them how to use it, you can get hurt using it.
This is a little bit like Cruz and Edgar batting with a donut.
Right. Don't recommend it, but those guys would do it. Yeah. It's amazing to watch, too.
Do you ever try?
Yeah. Edgar's the one that actually talked me into doing it.
Turn out okay?
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. But it's one of those things that I started off doing it off a tee, and eventually I took some batting practice with it.
And what was the final result of doing that?
The final result is basically at times my stride would get too long and you overswing, so your front shoulder flies out, and with that weighted bat, it would just drop straight down. You couldn't control it enough to hit it. And so basically you're not trying to hit the ball real hard, and basically you're staying for me as a right-hander here, I try to stay to the right side of the diamond with it and hit the ball the other way. And then eventually after a round or two of that, I would knock it off and then go in there. And the same type of feeling. It's all of a sudden my bat, which was 32 ounces, felt like it was super light. So then it made me feel like I could wait even longer and be quicker to the baseball.
2-1 to Marte. Martin breaking his second, and he keeps his foot on the bag. Now Martin, back-to-back 30 steal seasons for the Rangers. Those numbers dropped a little bit last year to 14. Of course, a hamate bone injury for Martin limited his playing time.
You were telling me that he was enjoying his time with Julio Cruz.
He lit up, Mike, when Julio's name was just mentioned. It was a simple question. How'd you like working with Julio Cruz? He said he loved working with Julio. And the thing that really stood out is that he hopes, as Marte draws the walk, he hopes that he wants to actually talk to Scott Service about having Julio in the dugout at a certain point during the season. Now, whether or not that happens or not, the point is that
during the game,
during an actual game in the dugout. I mean, this was a move by the Mariners to bring one of the most prolific base stealers in franchise history, of course, to camp and spend a few days with guys like Leonys Martin, Ketel Marte, Boog Powell, recently assigned to minor league camp. And it was a good move, obviously, because Martin said that he and Julio clicked right away. He loved the energy, and we know that Julio's got a lot of positive energy. It was a fantastic move, and it's obviously paying dividends already. The thing that he said that Cruz helped him with the most was just eagle eye focus on the pitcher and really learning how to study those moves.
Well, he had a really good jump right there to steal that base. And I would also say, I think it was the second or third day that Julio was here, and I ended up seeing him down on the field in uniform, and he was just as excited to be here. So it was great to see.
Julio was rocking the double sweatbands, Mike, and not just little sweatbands. These babies took up the whole forearm.
He went right back to his playing career. That's what he had in his playing career.
And they were soaked. It was really fun to have around.
Yeah. And the main thing to it all is the guys that you mentioned were able to get something out of it, learn something from him. A lot to offer there.
1 out, 2 on for Cano. I mentioned the numbers for Martin. Back-to-back 30-plus steal seasons for Texas. The last time the Mariners had a base stealer with at least 30 in a season, you got to go back to 2011 when Ichiro swiped 40. So it's been some time. Cano squares it up, driven out to left field, but this will send Brito right back towards the track. And Cano is allowed out, number 2. The Mariners and BECU are partnering once again to offer family fun at a discounted price at Safeco Field. Families can purchase select view-level seats for one low price. Choose from a lineup of this season's BECU Family Nights when you visit Mariners.com. Martin at second, Marte at first. And it brings in Nelson Cruz. Cruz an all-star for each of the last 3 seasons with 3 different teams. Rangers, the Orioles, and of course the Mariners last year. Cruz out to center field. Didn't quite square it up. Marzilli, the easy play. And that'll do it for the Mariners. They strand 2 aboard. Well, of course, it's always fun to come down to spring training, especially Little League team from Tacoma like we see here. We're through 3 innings, all tied at 1. Top of the 4th. Okay, Mike, tell us about the University Place Little League team here, who apparently they all have a sunglasses deal.
Well, it looks like it, doesn't it? 13U team. They're down here actually playing in a baseball tournament. A couple of them are actually my nephews, Keegan and Kyler, and they've been fortunate to come down the last few years to spring training. They've had such a good time. This year they decided to bring the whole team down playing in a tournament. They're going to finish up tomorrow, so a nice break from the weather back home for them to get outside and play some baseball. Having a good time. Sitting out on the grass. That's a lot of tickets. We have to put them out on the grass.
Find some room for them.
Yeah, they're having fun.
They really are. And a chance to watch Felix work. Zach Bornstein leads things off at the top of the 4th for the Diamondbacks.
Well, Felix has definitely made the adjustment on his fastball. We talked about it in his last outing, the first outing he's had here on the big field, and he was struggling with his fastball command. And when I talked to him, he was telling me that was the one thing he really wanted to work on today. Now, we have seen his curveball and his changeup, but he's made an effort to throw his fastball more in this one. There's another good one right in on the hands.
Lucas, tricky pick on the run for round number 1.
Nice play. It's one of the things we see Kyle Seager do all the time at third. And The key to it is you cannot hesitate. He decided right away he was going to be aggressive on that ground ball, even though it was a difficult hop. But because he was aggressive, he was able to just get in there and smother it. You can see the way he had his glove turn, and that makes it a much easier play than trying to stay back on it. Kyle's one of the best in the business at it. Nice play by Ed Lucas right there.
One out for Peter O'Brien, who singled and scored his last time up. And this is something when you come down to spring training and you go over to field 1 in the morning, you watch the infielders take ground balls. You'll see Lucas and Seager and sometimes Chris Taylor if he's getting work at third base. I mean, Manny Acta, Mariners third base coach, he's hitting fungo after fungo after fungo to these guys. And they're doing, well, plays almost exactly like that sometimes.
Yeah, that's one of the neat things when you're a professional, especially if you're a big leaguer. One, even their backfields where they get their workouts on are really nice, so you don't have to worry about anything with the field. The field's going to be perfect for them. But they get so much repetition all the time. And you mentioned Manny Acta hitting the grounders. He can hit the ball to do all different sorts of plays and do them over and over again. Very good with a fungo bat. And for an infielder, it's invaluable to just continue to see that same type of play until you feel that you have the timing and the rhythm and all that stuff down. And then you can move on to some backhand plays or maybe move to your forehand. But for a third baseman, charging the baseball is one of the most important things because you get that play so much.
Take a look at Manny Acta. Nice addition to the Mariners coaching staff.
I was saying yesterday on the broadcast, Aaron, that he probably had one of the toughest jobs in spring training, being the third base coach and trying to learn all these guys and their speed and the way they run and the way that they work their way around the bases. All those things are going to be important for him because it's a couple of weeks he's going to be doing it for real. And I saw in the last game yesterday a couple of different times when he basically chased the runner down because it was a play where they were going to score easy, so he started to slow up a little bit, but he wanted to watch them run through the plate. That's all information that he's putting away.
That's vital. Spring training's not just for the players. Pitch number 50 coming up here for Felix. He mentioned hoping to go somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 tonight. Marte with the charge, a little bit of a low throw, but Lind on the other end. Couple of ground ball outs.
We've seen Marte make that play a couple times in the game tonight. And you mentioned that he ended up getting a little bit stronger, put on some good weight, about 10 pounds. And I think that it's actually helped his arm because on this throw right here, he's throwing it on a line. And it looks to me that maybe some of that strength is probably from his legs to throw the baseball across the diamond. It looks a lot better.
It's funny to think about. Last year we actually saw Marte in center field
yeah.
a little bit when you go back and really think about it.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. I mean, obviously he has the speed to play out there, and they were trying to figure out what he's going to do. And most of it, and I say this all the time, was because he was swinging the bat and getting on the bases, they wanted to keep him in the lineup. So he was moving around a little bit until he finally ended up being the everyday shortstop.
Second base obviously not an option for Marte's. Fit in nicely at shortstop, though.
You know, it's one of those things. We've talked a lot about Stephan Romero, not in the lineup tonight, but what a great camp he is trying to make this club. And playing left field, playing right field, playing first base now and doing a nice job. And my advice to him is just keep hitting. You'll be out there somewhere.
That's the secret ingredient.
Just keep hitting.
Big rip and a miss, 1-2. And Romero, a little bit of a setback, a cramp in his lower back. Nothing too serious, but as you can imagine, for just about any player, when you feel a little bit of something, they want to shut you down, make sure you're all right. Got an MRI.
And I think because he can play those outfield spots, when you look at all the guys that are trying to figure out who's going to spell Lynn from time to time against a lefty, talking to Jerry DiPoto on the telecast, he was saying that he likes the flexibility that Stephan brings, especially with the way that he's swinging the bat.
Two outs and the 2-2.
Another good changeup from Felix. He has everything working tonight. First inning, the fastball was up a little bit, but since then he's made the adjustment and he looks really good.
Seems like we even see that sometimes in the regular season from Felix, where it can take him maybe an inning to just kind of get engaged to where his stuff is that night.
Yeah, I think if you go back, and for me, watching Felix, typically, and it's that way against a lot of the great ones, Aaron, if you're going to get to them, you have to get to them early, because once they start to feel it, it's lights out. And the opposing teams know that. And I think that's the reason why you mentioned the teams being more aggressive, especially early in games. I think that's the reason why they don't want to give them an opportunity to settle in. And maybe the only chance they get is that first or second inning to put a couple of runs up on the board.
Two ground ball outs for Felix here in the top of the fourth. Strike three called. He gets him with the hook. Fourth strikeout for the King here tonight through 4 innings. That's worth another look. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Mariners and the Diamondbacks all tied up. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Delta Airlines. Keep climbing. By Steel. To find your local Steel dealer, visit steeldealers.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Beautiful shot of downtown Phoenix on a warm night here from the desert. Cactus League game number 21 for the Mariners. Tyler Wagner, tonight's starter for the D-backs, back out there. Acquired by Arizona this January, in the Gene Segura deal with Milwaukee. Made his big league debut last year for the Brew Crew. Just started 3 games, that was it. Just barely got his toe in the water. Facing Adam Lind, who singled and scored the Mariners' lone runs so far tonight.
And the Diamondbacks have the shift on again. They had the shift on when Lind was hitting the first time. He hit a line drive over the infield in front of the outfielder, the right fielder. The right fielder just in front of the warning track right now.
So these two former teammates in Milwaukee. Ball and 2 strikes to Lind. Surprised Felix doesn't have a batter's helmet or Cano's bat right now, Mike. Not really in full season form, wouldn't you say? That's typically his protocol. Maybe not when he's pitching, but
it looks
any
to me
other
like
time.
He's done too. It's the end of the road for Felix tonight. Looked like his jersey was untucked, and that's typically the sign that he's finished. Strong outing for him. Really pitched well.
Like what you saw?
Yeah, I think the one thing in his first outing, I liked his curveball and his changeup. His changeup was excellent, but his fastball command, and he said as much. And I knew that going into this, that's what he was going to be working on. High in the first inning, made some adjustments, but the last 3 innings, I thought he was spot on with his fastball. I'm sure he'll be pleased with the outing.
Lynn calls for time. Yep, I think you're right, Mike. That jersey will say it all. Lynn caught looking on the corner. One up, one down. That brings in Clevenger. Mike, is it tough as a veteran player, whether you're Felix or Cano or even Martin or you name it, a guy who's been in the big leagues for a while, this time of spring training, right? The newness is worn off. You're into the grind of the spring. Is it tough in games like this when you know what your place on this team is to really try to channel that same adrenaline, that same emotion that you'll have, well, come game 1 of 162?
I think it's a great question, and at this point, not quite yet, Aaron. And the reason why I say that is because these guys are now to the point they've gone through the soreness, which you get the first week, and then trying to slow the game down, which we talked about earlier. And now they're really starting to focus and get this stuff locked in. These are important at bats for them. So you take a look at Mike Montgomery getting loose in the pen, but it's one of those. It's that last week is the toughest week. That's the week where you really don't feel like going out there at all, because you can see the start of the season and you're excited about that, and you've already been down here for over a month and you're doing the same thing every day. The last week is the toughest one, and that's why some managers will go and they'll start to play these guys longer in games right now and then back them off before you get to the season.
It's almost kind of like NFL preseason. That third game or so, you get those guys a lot of time, and then that fourth game, it's, well, get them on the field and get them off the field.
And get them in the start of the season healthy more than anything.
Get them feeling good.
That's right.
2-2 to Clevenger. A skimmer out to Ahmed. Out number 2. A strikeout, a ground out, now facing Efren Navarro.
In fact, Aaron, at times, this is the time, too, where guys that aren't feeling it yet and it's not really working for them, you'll see them go down to the minor league games to get some extra at-bats because they know it's getting closer to that time, and they're starting to get anxious about it. So these are important at-bats for them.
And tell us about that, because for fans who haven't been on one of those chain link backfields here in Peoria or anywhere else around the Cactus League or Grapefruit League, you can essentially, as a major leaguer, insert yourself into that lineup card and you can hit every inning.
And lead off. Just lead off every inning if you want. Yeah, it's oh boy.
Navarro puts a charge into it, ticketed for the bullpen, and it's in there for a home run. Mariners take the lead. First of the spring for Navarro. 2-1 Mariners.
The second RBI of the game, and it looked as if it was a low fastball, and he just golfs it out. You can see how upright he is, and just a lot of leverage on that fastball that's on the inside corner at the knees. So he's driven in both runs for the Mariners.
In very different fashion, too.
Right.
The one unassisted RBI ground out, which you don't see every day, as Lucas has to bend back.
Some of the major leaguers, the veteran guys, Aaron, they don't really like to go to the minor league camp, and I think more than anything because they just don't trust the pitchers that are down there. Some guys will go down there and you'll see them take a lot of pitches just because they're trying to slow their body down. The guy that used to do it more than anybody, it used to be Edgar.
Lucas in a center field, at a base hit. And Edgar would get 8 or 9 at-bats.
However many he felt that he needed that day, but he would go down there even more often than most other guys. I think if you talk to most guys, they get to 50, 60 at-bats down in the spring, and they feel that they're ready to go. Some guys might want 75, 80. I think for the Mariners, we talked about it with Martin. They felt that they wanted to give him more at-bats in the spring. And if you're not going to get him in the regular games, so you can go down there and start picking up at-bats. They don't count. But it still puts you in a batter's box, and you have to track pitches and try to put them in play. That's the biggest reason why.
Little visit out here to the mound, keeping an eye there on Wagner. As we were talking about Edgar, you know, we see Edgar with a clipboard or a binder in that hand pretty often, Mike, whether it be in Arizona or back at Safeco Field. Always carrying around some data, it seems like.
He is. He says that he's another one of the coaches. We've talked about the coaches. He's here really early in the morning because he has to watch film and do those kinds of things. And typically the guys will go in the cages at about 7 o'clock in the morning for extra work. He's there for all of that. Long days.
Faisano to a knee, 0-2. Daniel Robertson, the new number 99 for the Mariners. A long shot to make this team out of springtime, but he does have some major league service time under his belt. He said that it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're Cruz or Cano or a guy like Daniel Robertson. You go to the cage and Edgar is there. He wants to work with you. Deep in the hole. Owings, a short toss. That'll do things for the Mariners here in the bottom of the 4th inning. A home run by Efrain Navarro. And the Mariners have taken the lead. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines.
More than a net.
King done after 4 innings, his second start in Cactus League play. Mike, what'd you make of it?
I thought it was really good. For Felix in his first outing, I thought his curveball was in pretty good shape. His changeup was really good. Again, his fastball command was issue, and it was getting the ball down in the zone. He was throwing it on the plate, but it was elevated, so he was getting hit a little bit. But today he came back, maybe even a better curveball today. Still had the good changeup, but the one thing that he wanted to work on was his fastball location. I thought it was a little bit high in the first inning, but after that he settled down, and I thought the next 3 innings it was excellent. But his secondary pitches were, he was ready to go right now as far as I'm concerned. As far as the secondary pitches, they were as good as it was going to get.
Well, how about we get the standpoint, the viewpoint of a former catcher. Dave Valley joins us. Val, what did you make of the King tonight?
I tell you what, it was just very, very impressive for this to be only his second outing of spring training, and to have the command that he had of those secondary pitches, being able to throw them exactly where he wants it. The one interesting thing was he struggled in his last start with his fastball command, and typically when you're high in the zone, you normally don't have good command of your secondary pitches because of the release point, right? If you're going to throw a curveball, you want that release point to be out front so it's breaking down. And it was his fastballs that he was rushing a little bit, and that ball was elevated, even in the first inning here today. But, you know, that changeup, the curveball, and then ultimately he found that release point for his fastball. It's, you know, I don't think he needs any more time right now. He's ready for opening day.
Hey, Val, it was interesting when you were talking about that. Does Felix maybe have a little more of an advantage when he is throwing his fastball high and still able to use his curveball and his changeup because he throws it with such conviction that maybe he's still going to finish those pitches if he's not even finishing his fastball?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that, because with him you can't just sit on an off-speed pitch, right? So you have to be geared for your fastball, and anytime he's throwing that fastball up in the zone, the other two pitches are the ones that are just going to kind of spin you into the ground, as we saw some of the swings from the Diamondbacks here today. But just his approach, you know, this is his 11th season. He's just a wise veteran right now. You can just tell he's just getting his work in. He's very methodical about what he's doing out there on the mound, and he's really matured into an incredible veteran presence on this ball club.
Good insights there, Val. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, gentlemen.
We'll be talking with Val, no doubt, later on in the broadcast tonight. Mike Montgomery now up on the mound for the Mariners, taking over for Felix. A smash into right field. Brito's second base hit as this skims all the way to the wall. Brito puts on the Jets. He's eyeing third base, and he'll cruise in there easily, standing up. Brito, the number 8 prospect for the Diamondbacks. A one-out triple.
And take a look at solid line drive. He really had to go dig the curveball out. It wasn't a bad pitch by Montgomery. Well located. And you can see how fast the outfield grass is. He gets to the wall in a hurry.
Mariners have a 2-1 lead thanks to a couple of RBIs by Efrain Navarro, an infield ground out RBI, and also a home run into the bullpen. In steps Nick Ahmed. Now this spring has certainly taken a little bit of a turn for Mike Montgomery. Now somebody competing for a spot in the bullpen. Over the course of his entire career, he's been used almost exclusively as a starter, and that was true last year, both in the minor leagues and the major leagues, in a Mariners uniform. Out of options, and with the health status of Charlie Furbush a little bit up in the air right now in terms of opening day, Montgomery right now battling for a spot as a lefty in the bullpen.
Well, and I think if you look at talking to Jerry DiPoto about it, general manager for the Mariners, he was just saying at one point you have to look at the sheer numbers, and he was looking at the starters, and there wasn't going to be a spot here for Mike, and so they went to Mike and talked to him about pitching out of the bullpen. And so these outings here are going to be important for him the rest of the way. And the secondary note to that, Aaron, is what you mentioned with Charlie, and Charlie not being able to pitch yet. They have to have some sort of backup plan on where that's going to go, and the further we get into camp, the more serious that gets. Now, for Charlie today, I talked to Rick Griffin, and he was supposed to play catch today, do some flat ground work, come back and play catch tomorrow, and then throw a bullpen. But in my mind, I think that if you look at it and where you're at in spring training, if Charlie, and I don't know what the number is, but say he usually in spring training over the last 3 years we get 7, 8, 9 outings, whatever that number is, we're getting to the point where we're running out of games. And so the most important thing for me when it comes to Charlie is do what you have to do to get him back healthy and ready to go. And if he doesn't start the season with the team, that's okay. But so that when you get him back, you keep him. But in the meantime, this is a pretty good option. A left-hander out of the pen that can throw 91 to 93 miles an hour with a pretty good curveball.
Owens a 2-out single to right.
But for Mike, this is going to be a learning process for him, too, to not get the start and to actually have to come pitch out of the pen and get a feel for that.
We were talking about a guy like Edgar going down to a minor league backfield and getting 9 at-bats in one day. For a guy like Furbush, a pitcher, it's not quite that easy. There's a certain amount of rest and recuperation that is involved with being a pitcher, unlike being a hitter.
Especially when you're dealing with some sort of injury.
Right. 2 outs, a man at first. We're seeing Jake Lamb for the third time. A walk, also reached on an error. The former Husky looks at strike one. Last year, Montgomery had a remarkable start to his major league career. His first 9 games in ERA just barely north of 2.5, and opponents hit under 220 against Mike Montgomery, a former top prospect in the Royals system, then a member of the Tampa Bay Rays, coming over in the swap for Erasmo Ramirez. Had those back-to-back complete game shutouts, one against his former team, Kansas City, at Safeco Field. The other, a one-hitter at Petco Park against the Padres. For Montgomery, the final 7 games did not go quite so well, an ERA of 9, and opponents hitting over 300. It was a pretty stark contrast. And the shift on for Lamb. Lamb batting cleanup tonight for the Diamondbacks. Lamb the opposite way of the shift, and a foul ball. This is one of the really interesting aspects of the shift, Mike, that we maybe don't talk quite enough about. We're typically focused on the heavy side of the shift, the strong side of the shift. But it's the weak side, in this case Ed Lucas, talking with a member of the Mariners baseball information department on lining up the shift. There's essentially 5 spots in this particular case where Ed Lucas can be, and choosing the correct spot out of the 5 per hitter, and that's the vulnerable side of the shift, right? And obviously, what they know about Jake Lamb in this case, they're lining Lucas up to be, well, in the spot where if he were to go the opposite way, that's the most probable.
Which brings up a good point, and I think that sometimes in spring training, you look at these shifts, and you talk about Jake Lamb, for example. It's not always just the information that maybe they have on the hitter, but sometimes they're just working and going into the shift, and that those guys are in that spot that you're talking about. I talked to Scott Service about it, probably a week to 10 days ago, and I was asking him about it, and he's the one that told me. He goes, well, Mike, sometimes we're doing it just so the players can understand where they're supposed to be. It may not have anything to do with the hitter, although this one works out perfect.
And right on cue.
There you go.
That'll do things at the top of the 5th. A run in, a man left for the Diamondbacks. And as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning, Mariners and Diamondbacks all tied at 2. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning here in the desert, and Mariners 10-game flex packs are on sale now. Choose from a great selection of events, including Ken Griffey Jr. weekend, Star Wars weekend, plus big matchups against the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Cardinals. Packs start at $120 and are available at mariners.com/flex. Mike, you spent some time in the Grapefruit League, obviously plenty of time in the Cactus League. We hear players from time to time speak about the differences just in the environment and how that impacts the game, especially from pitchers. What did you experience with that?
I would agree with it. It's obviously more humid, and so sometimes the guys would have a tougher time of it. I think for me though, the biggest difference, Aaron, more than anything else, was the travel.
Sure.
The bus rides were at one point down here in Arizona, the longest trip that I had to go was to go to Tucson, and that's just a couple hours away. But those were constantly happening when I played. I played in West Palm Beach when I was with the Expos, Fort Lauderdale with the Yankees, and then Vero Beach with the Dodgers. And I just found that to be the toughest part, because think about it. You play one of these night games, and then you get on the bus for 2-3 hours to get back home. Come right back for the day game the next day. That was the toughest part.
If you think about it, too, as a position player, if you want to get some extra hacks in the cage with Edgar, if you've got say a 20 or 30-minute ride to Glendale compared to maybe a 3-hour ride in the Grapefruit League, well, now that's 2.5 hours that you suddenly don't have to work in the cage.
Oh, I think they missed that call.
And we saw it close with at first base earlier.
I like the way that Martin went down the line, though. He busted it all the way down the line, and Scott Service thought it was pretty obvious, too, so he's going to come out and have a conversation with the umpire. But I like the hustle from Martin right there. And the reason why I like it is because you see the second baseman go after it right here. He picks it, but because he's running hard, he rushes his throw, and it looked to me as if he did pull him off the bag, but the umpire disagreed and called him out.
Now, there are no replays in spring training. There's no chance that play gets overturned, but you like the move by Scott Service to come out and talk it over?
Well, yeah, I think why not get some practice in for Scott, too, right?
His first.
He knows that it's not going to change. But I like the fact that he came out, too. And another reason, Aaron, is because his player was running hard and hustling down the line. And that shows something to Martin by going out there. But I think that we talked a lot about this spring, the guys having the ability to put the ball in play more often. If you can put it in play more often with speed, you're going to have plays go your way more times than not.
Two-0 on Martin.
Load up, Aaron. Load up.
You won't go hungry. I know where I'm going in between innings, Mike. You let me know how many. We'll get some for the guys in the truck, too.
There you go.
There's just barely enough food there for everybody. This has some carry out to the track. Marzilli off the wall. Marte with the gas pedal down into third base, and he tiptoes in there standing.
I thought he had a chance to hit it out of the ballpark. It looks like it hits at the base of the fence. It's about 400 feet out there where he hit it. Right at the bottom of the fence. Obviously great speed, but he had some excellent turns around first and second base right there too. Nice job of running the bases.
Just walk him now. Just put him on first.
One out Marte at third base, and brings in Cano, all tied up 2 apiece. Bottom of the 5th inning.
Arizona has their infield in.
Mariners an RBI ground out in the 2nd, then Efrain Navarro a solo home run to the 4th. He's driven in both runs today for the Mariners. Hard hit bullet right to O'Brien. Two outs, Marte stays put.
Gets a changeup, 83 miles an hour out in front of it, and hits it hard. But unfortunately, some bad luck right at the first baseman.
Two outs for Cruz. They shifted against Cruz his first at bat, and they shift against Cruz here as well in his second. Which is surprising in some aspects, since we saw last year firsthand how much Cruz uses the entire field.
And I talked to Nelson about it last year, and he told me that, especially with 2 strikes, just, you know, he's a power guy, 40-plus homers, but he's a guy that wants to drive in those runs. And he said at times he will take what they give him, and that's hit the ball the other way.
A couple of years ago, in his lone season in Baltimore, his average was a little bit lower than he would have liked to see it come the final month of the season. And a number of the teams in his division, namely the Yankees, who are a pretty shift-heavy team, started shifting him like we're seeing here, and he just started going the opposite way. He added about 10 points to his average. Just taking what they gave him.
He has the ability to do it. He can hit the ball the other way with power. At the start of the game, we showed the home run that he hit yesterday out to right center.
Can't shift that. Marte at third, 2 outs. And Cruz down on strikes. Marte left stranded after that 1-out triple. We're through 5 innings. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines. We're all tied up 2 apiece. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Delta Airlines. Keep climbing. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Husqvarna, ready when you are. Beautiful night here in the desert. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, glad you could join us for Mariners Cactus League baseball as we're joined by Mariners catcher Steve Clevenger. Steve, we've really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit in your first season with the Mariners. How is spring training, #1 with Seattle, going for you?
It's going great. Right now I'm kind of, battling the flu. I've had it this week, so it's been a little rough stretch for me this week. It's good to get back out there on the field and playing again.
Steve, what were your impressions of Felix tonight?
He was very good. He didn't give in. He was in some good, bad situations, early in the game, and he went out there and competed like it was the middle of the season.
I've talked about it a lot with Chris Iannetta, and you're right there with him as far as the catching and having to learn all of these pitchers and what their tendency are and what they're trying to do. How difficult has that been, and where are you at now?
I don't think it was too difficult. I don't think it's too difficult. Like I said, it's just a lot of communication, getting to know these guys, and getting out there and catching bullpens. Watching, studying some video, and watching some previous years guys pitch. So that's the main thing, and like I said, just getting on the same page.
Steve, if you wouldn't mind, I would love for you to tell us the story about you catching Felix on a minor league backfield where you were facing minor league hitters and you were essentially catcher and umpire. And can you tell us the story of you not giving Felix a call for a strike that he kind of thought was a strike?
He was kind of breezing through the lineup pretty easy, so I had to, hold him off, had to Joe West him a little bit, and, not call everything a strike. But, there were some pretty close pitches, but I thought, during the course of a year, he may not get some pitches like that, and I thought it was a good situation, a good time to, call those pitches balls.
Steve, when I talked to Felix after his first outing over here on the big field, the one thing he said he wanted to work on today was getting his fastball down. It looked to me as if his fastball was up in the first inning, but I thought he made a nice adjustment after that, and it seemed to throw his fastball a little bit more tonight.
He did. He definitely did. His fastball was up a little bit in the first inning. When we came in, we all sat down, me, Mel, and him, and kind of trying to get him to go downhill, and he started throwing the ball downhill and threw the ball really well, threw some good fastballs down in the zone, and got some outs on it.
Now, Steve, over the course of one of your at-bats tonight, we had a chance to talk about meeting you face-to-face at Safeco Field this winter at FanFest. And my first impression of you, Steve, was I had read your bio. I knew you were from Baltimore. So when you first said hello to me, I couldn't believe the accent that I heard coming out of your mouth. You're born and raised in Baltimore. You spent 1 year in Hammond, Louisiana with Southeastern Louisiana University, and then the accent is born. Can you tell us how in the world this happened?
Have you guys not spoken to Wade Miley?
Wade is.
So yeah, that'll give you a little taste of it right there. Actually, I went down there for a year, and I was just around a bunch of guys that talk real Southern draws, and just picked it up. I have no idea. My mom says the same thing. I was born in Baltimore. They actually have their own accent up there, and I don't know how I got the Southern accent, really.
What was your parents' reaction when you came home for winter break and you sounded like this?
She actually started laughing at me when I said the word y'all. So we usually say you guys up there.
Sure.
But, she started laughing at me and just was in shock.
Well, Steve, you're having a fine camp, and we really appreciate your time here, especially after just coming off the field. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys.
I hope you're feeling better, too.
Thank you very much.
Steve Clevenger, Mariners catcher. This is Blake Parker, now pitching for Mike Montgomery, who went an inning. Count 3-1 to Bornstein after Weeks popped up foul. Parker sporting a very Beimel-esque beard these days. Making his 6th appearance in Cactus League play. He's got 5 innings under his belt. No runs on just a couple of hits. And a walk here. So Felix 4 innings, Montgomery 1 inning. Now Parker, the 3rd pitcher. Parker, 30 years old. Born in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Went to high school in Fayetteville and then went to the university there. He's a former Razorback. Here's Peter O'Brien digging in. first baseman, 1 for 2 tonight. Parker's time in the major leagues, all with the Cubs. Bornstein at first base, reached on the walk. Pops the glove for a strike. Diamondbacks last year 79-83. They finished 3rd in the West. And suddenly the Diamondbacks are relevant in their own division. Of course, so top heavy, dominated by the Giants and the Dodgers. But they go out, they get Zach Greinke, highest paid player now on an annual basis in baseball history. They give up a ton to get Shelby Miller, coming over from the Atlanta Braves. Off the hands, yanked foul. In fact, it was the Diamondbacks going out and getting Greinke. As you take a look at second-year manager Chip Hale, did a fine job last year with a really athletic, defensive-driven team. We say that, but outside of the Rockies, they really had the best offense in the National League. One of the best defenses in baseball as well. Look at the trickle-down effect, though, this offseason. The Dodgers, the Giants, so in on Greinke, especially the Dodgers, former team. He goes to the Diamondbacks. Now, the Dodgers have this enormous checkbook. They go out, get Iwakuma, we thought. Fortunate to get Iwakuma back, but it was because of that that the Dodgers were suddenly in the market for Hisashi. 2 outs as Bornstein stays put at first base. But you put Greinke and Shelby Miller in your rotation, along with some of the young arms that they already have, and you're automatically a contender.
Yeah, you are. It'll be interesting to watch these guys, and Greinke, he can pitch anywhere, but it's a hitter-friendly ballpark in Arizona, so that'll be interesting to watch too.
And steps Brett Hayes with 2 outs and a man at first base. When you talk about the value of wins and losses for a pitcher, think about Shelby Miller last year. He was charged, Mike, with 17 losses, and the Diamondbacks gave up their number 3 prospect. They gave up their number 1 overall draft pick from that year, plus Ender Inciarte, who was a very talented outfielder. As you look at, well, Hall of Famer Tony La Russa, who has, Mike, in my opinion, the best title in sports, Chief Baseball Officer for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
It's fitting, isn't it?
Just call him Chief. One and two. But it is kind of funny when you think about wins and losses. And now Shelby Miller certainly pitched better than his 17-loss season.
Right. He has great stuff. There's no denying that. But it's interesting. We've talked pitching and their defense, but they also have Paul Goldschmidt in the middle of their lineup. And I think he's one of the most underrated superstars in the game.
I couldn't agree with you more. And you talk with anybody on the Arizona side. Goldschmidt not in the lineup tonight, part of the split squad earlier today versus Texas. Goldschmidt is a player, when we've heard Chip Hale talk about him, his teammates talk about him, media surrounding the Diamondbacks talk about Goldschmidt. He does everything right. Hustles out ground balls. Actually runs the bases really well, which you wouldn't necessarily think of.
Because he's a big man.
He is. Plays good defense, hits for power, hits for average. Could easily have an MVP trophy on his mantle if it wasn't for Andrew McCutchen. Quick snap throw to first, safe. Bornstein barely back safely.
Good quickness by Barron on that snap throw. Good feet.
But Goldschmidt has certainly been a product of a team that has not been able to compete in the division, and the result is that he hasn't received quite the notoriety that he deserves. You could look at if he did what he has done for the Giants or for the Dodgers, he'd be a household name.
The pitchers in the National League are aware of him.
There's no question. Still 2-2. Two outs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bornstein at first base, reaching on the walk. Splits Lucas and Marte. 2-out base hit, 2 outs, 2 on. As we're pleased to be joined by Mike Montgomery, who threw an inning here tonight in back of Felix Hernandez. And, well, Mike, how is bullpen life treating you these days?
It's been good. Just you know, trying to make the little adjustments, and you know, it's been good so far.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the adjustments you have to make, especially since you've been a starter, and that's something that you came into camp as, and now all of a sudden you're out in the bullpen with an opportunity to make this club? Some of the adjustments you think you're going to have to make?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is just being ready to go right away. You know, as a starter, you can set guys up. You got to worry about facing them 2, 3, 4 times through the lineup. Out of the pen, it's just, you know, get ready, get going, and give it everything you got every pitch.
Mike, we were referencing some of the numbers for you last year. Your first 9 starts, fantastic. Of course, the back-to-back complete game shutouts. Can you take us back? What, in your mind, was working so well for you during that just magnificent run last season?
I think the biggest thing was, well, for one, I was executing a lot of pitches, but I think I was just mixing up speeds, using my fastball to both sides, and you know, it was working out pretty well.
This over the head of Cousins, the new center fielder. Bornstein, who walked, able to come home and score. And meanwhile, Marzilli all the way into third base. So the Diamondbacks have taken the lead.
Mike, I'm curious, just your thoughts. We were talking to Scott Service when we were told that they were going to try you in the pen, and they thought you had a lot of upside there. Just what your thoughts on that were when you had that conversation with Mike, or with Scott?
You know, I like starting, and it's something I've always done. But, you know, I just told him, I said, you know, I'm willing to do, you know, whatever it's going to take to make this team and help this team win games and get to the playoffs. And, you know, whether that's starting or relieving, you know, I'm all on board.
Mike, we really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Mike Montgomery, an inning tonight behind Felix, who went 4. 2 runs in on the triple. Bornstein and Hayes coming around. This is Socrates Brito for the 4th time. A triple, a run scored, and a single tonight. One thing talking about Mike Montgomery that I'll be interested to see is when and at what point will that typical uptick in velocity take place for Mike, because we know he's got a live arm for the left side, and
saw him hit 93 tonight.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it even climbed a little bit more. You would figure, though, that maybe it would take more than just a couple of times out of the bullpen for that to happen.
Once he's comfortable,
yeah,
I think so. Once he gets a feel for it. You know, the other thing with Mike, too, is there's a lot of value there because he has been a starter, especially early in the season, because he could possibly be a long guy out of the pen. Guys don't always stay healthy. You can get a spot start here and there. And I think for him, a wise decision, you could tell just by listening to him speak, he's an intelligent young man, and he knows that just get on this team. And maybe your situation changes if you go out and you compete and you pitch well. You're right here. Something happens to a starter as you look at Nuno getting loose. That's kind of where you're at. And for him, make the club.
Be in the mix.
Be in the mix. That's right.
Tough one for Blake Parker. He'll exit here in the top of the 6th. Nuno coming on. Diamondbacks lead it by 2. Top of the 6th, Diamondbacks leading 4-2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, our entire Root Sports crew. Glad you can join us here tonight for Mariners Cactus League Baseball as Vidal Nuno takes over on the mound for Blake Parker, who went 2/3 of an inning. Nuno now 28 years old, out of National City, California. I know we were talking about Efren Navarro, a 50th round draft pick. Nuno, 48th round. And he's been able to carve out a nice niche for himself here in Seattle.
He turned out to be a valuable part to the bullpen last year with the spot starts and the long relief and coming in to get a tough lefty out when Charlie wasn't ready to go, and really did a lot of things well.
First pitch strike to Ahmed.
That is a tough job to have when you show up to the ballpark and you're not sure what you're going to be asked to do on a given day.
Nuno spent some time in Venezuela during the offseason, some winter ball. Marzelli, the triple, a 2-run triple at that. He's 90 feet from home. Nuno, of course, a former Diamondback, has a home here in Arizona. Also spends part of the offseason in San Diego. Said he bought a house in Arizona to escape the taxes in San Diego, which is a pretty veteran move. Runner takes off. That's Brito. Tough play. Marte on to first base. 2 runs in for the Diamondbacks. And they're on top 4-2. Well, another Little League team from Seattle here inside the Peoria Sports Complex. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines.
How fast is it?
Tonight, they were not disappointed. And we want you, like these guys, to join the conversation for up-to-date game information and live interaction. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Check us out and stay connected with Root Sports. Brad Adam here, back at our Forward Sports desk. Every Monday you can experience the greatest Mariners moments from last season with Mariners Mondays. Tune in next Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific, where we will go back to last year's opening day with, of course, King Felix dominating the Angels at Safeco Field. For your local programming schedule, visit rootsports.com. Felix getting ready for another opening day start. That is our final Mariners Mondays because, yes, to go back to Aaron and Mike, regular season coming up real soon, guys.
You got that right. Thank you, Bradham. Adam Lind begins things in the bottom of the 6th inning. Opening day at Safeco Field, April 8th. Lind facing a new pitcher, Scott Rice. Big, tall lefty, 6'6". Rice, a former first-round draft pick by the Orioles, was taken in the first round back in 1999, the same year that Josh Hamilton was taken #1 overall by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Nice shift for Lind. You know, Mike, we hear hitters and managers talk about the shift, and one I remember is a manager saying, when we shift against David Ortiz, we want him to try to go away from the shift. A guy that profiles like Lind, you think he cares much about the shift?
I don't think so. It's something that I talked a lot about with for example, Kyle Seager last year. And for Kyle, I talked to him about the shifts, and he's aware of it, and he sees it. But I think he had the right answer, and that is, yeah, there's times when I will try to go the other way, but it depends on the score, how late in the game, who's on the mound. Because his job is to hit the ball out of the ballpark and drive in runs, first and foremost. And I think that those guys in the middle of your lineup are aware of that.
That makes sense. Lind draws the walk. As we have our first pinch runner of the night, and a quick cook, as that'll be it for Scott Rice. Chip Hale takes the ball. We've got a pitching change. Glad you could join us. Mariners Spring Training presented by Delta Airlines.
The indomitable nature of the human.
Pitching change here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Diamondbacks by 2. Well, new this year, the Mariners will be wearing flex-base jerseys, which are lighter and provide enhanced moisture wicking and better breathability. If you want to wear what the pros wear, then swing by one of the 5 Mariner team store locations to pick up your very own flex-base jersey. Josh Coleminter, the new pitcher for Chip Hale, after a leadoff walk to Adam Lind. Dalton Kelly is pinch running for Lind at first base. Cole Minter up with the Diamondbacks each of the last 5 years. I spent some time both as a starter and a reliever. Last year a dozen starts. Year before that almost 30. First at bat here for Steve Barron. Mariners 2 runs here tonight, and RBI ground out by Efren Navarro. That was in the second. Then Navarro went deep into the bullpen in right field in the fourth. Mariners left Marte stranded at third base last inning after a triple. That came with 1 out. You know, Mike, knowing what we know at this point about Scott Service and his emphasis, along with Jerry Dipoto, of putting the ball in play, I have a feeling that somewhere circled on a scorecard is a 1-out triple by Marte and then 2 outs following it and not being able to bring him home, with the caveat that Cano hit it on the screws to first base.
You'll take that at bat. There's nothing you can do about that.
Of course.
Right. And I think that they'll understand that. It's kind of one of those things. We talk about it with the shifts all the time and how he keeps score throughout spring training on it. I think that's one right there. It'll be a plus.
Soft pop-up, medium depth, Brito for out number 1. One out for Efren Navarro. We think of Navarro as a first baseman, but he's really spent more time in the outfield in terms of games started in his major league career with the Angels than at first base. And he was saying earlier today that it was during a spring training not that long ago when he was in Angels camp that he went to Mike Scioscia, and well, he basically saw the writing on the wall. They had Albert Pujols. He wasn't going anywhere if healthy. They have C.J. Cron, a first-round draft pick, a first baseman, and he knew that if he wanted to break camp and be in the major leagues, he would have to learn to play another position. So he got himself an outfielder's glove, and well, tonight he's getting the start in left field.
The interesting part to all of that is watching him play first base defensively. He's really good at it. So, for him to go ahead and move to the outfield, even though I think he's a pretty good defender at first, give him a lot of credit.
I mean, he is the best defensive first baseman in camp for the Mariners right now. It's a matter of how can he find a way onto this roster. A guy that has had great success in the PCL. Has played against the Rainiers for a number of years.
Well, he has been the hitting star tonight. A solo home run has driven in both runs for the Mariners.
One out, 1 on, 2 balls and a strike. I asked Navarro where he learned to play first base. An unlikely answer. His sister, 11 years older, actually played a season of professional baseball in what was a startup trial all-women's baseball league. She's a heck of a player. She's got a lot invested in Navarro. Tight to the line, but foul. He said that his father always joked that had his sister been a boy, he would have been in the major leagues long ago and was the best baseball player in the family. Well, they're very close.
How did Efren like that?
He said it with a smile.
Oh, okay.
But they're very tight. He said his sister, although he doesn't remember it quite as well, his sister still tells him stories of hitting him ground balls when he was a little kid. Navarro down on strikes. First time he's been at the plate and has not driven in a run tonight. Out number 2.
And I think he gets him on a pretty good changeup, going around it right off the outside corner. 74 miles an hour on that changeup.
Really dialed it down. 2 outs as Kelly running at first base for Lind. Coleminter facing Lucas. A dart into center field and a base hit. And the Mariners have 2-1 with 2 out. Kelly into second base.
Well, he decided he wanted to be aggressive on the fastball, and he gets it right in the middle of the plate.
With 2 outs, the Mariners have the tie-in run at first base. And our first look at Alex Jackson. You saw Jackson in Cactus League play a little bit last year. Former first-round draft pick recently by the Mariners. A converted catcher into the outfield, and at the time of that draft was basically by almost every scout of the country hands down named the best high school bat in that draft. Tough season last year. Spent some time in single A ball, then sent back down a rung in the short season to Everett. Jackson ahead 2-0. Went to high school in San Diego. He finished his high school career with nearly 50 home runs. He was a 3-time Baseball America high school All-American. Hard ground ball. Owens, plenty of range, and that'll do it for the Mariners. They strand 2, and we're through 6 innings. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines. Diamondbacks by a pair. It's off to the top of the 7th. Adam Lind done for the day. Headed back to the Mariners clubhouse here at the Peoria Sports Complex. Lind finishes a walk, a run scored, a strikeout, and a base hit. It'll be Dalton Kelly. No nameplate, number 85. He'll take over at first base. And Mike, this got me thinking. Here's Kelly taking over for Lind at first. Kelly now the ripe age of 21 years old. Last year broke in a pro ball here in rookie ball in Arizona at 20. And here he is. He is a mere feet away, well, barring a shift, from Robinson Cano, on path for a Hall of Fame career. What was it like for you? Who was the first guy when you were a minor leaguer coming into a major league spring training game where you thought, oh my goodness, I am right next to fill in the blank?
Dave Winfield.
Yeah.
A Hall of Famer. You remember it well, I take it.
Yeah, I was with the Expos, and they called me up for minor league camp. ended up going up, getting on the bus, and going to Fort Lauderdale, not thinking I was going to play, just there for an emergency situation. But I was happy to be there. It was a night game in Fort Lauderdale, and ended up getting into the game, probably around the 5th inning. Tim Wallach was the everyday third baseman for the Expos at the time, and Tim had asked me before the game, "Hey kid, you want to play?" I said, "I'd love to." And he goes, "Okay, I'll get out of here a little bit earlier." Buck Rogers was the manager, and Tim came in off the field, and he told me, he said, "I'm going to hit third in this inning, and you're in the game." So he told Buck, because they had other options, obviously, but he suggested to Buck Rogers to put me in the game, and Dave Winfield was the first hitter. Hit a one-hopper right off my chest.
Took the air out a little bit?
Yeah. Didn't know it at the time, but a few years later we would be teammates in New York.
Nuno back on to work the 7th. A walk to Owens. This is Jake Lamb for the 4th time. Now, did that feel like for you, even though you knew it was a spring training game, as a minor leaguer playing in a big league spring game, did that feel about as close to a major league game as you could imagine?
Yeah, it was the only thing I knew.
Exactly.
No, trust me, it was great. Again.
Lamb goes around. That'll be it.
Just
down on strikes.
And Aaron, just being in the clubhouse, riding on the bus with the guys, all of that was a thrill for me.
A little nervous?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, that stuff was fun, but once you're in the game, you're nervous. Yeah. Of course you are.
Especially when Big Winfield comes up.
It was one of the best bus rides back to West Palm I'd ever been on.
Because of your performance?
Well, things went well.
Sure.
You're hoping you don't embarrass yourself. That didn't happen, and so I was pretty excited about it.
A success.
You laugh, but that goes through your mind.
I completely understand. Completely understand. Any phone calls made when you got back home?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
Hey, Dad, I didn't embarrass myself?
Yeah.
Actually played all right?
Yeah, did okay.
Threw Dave Winfield out?
Well, it was something along the lines that, hey, 1, I was called up to big league camp today, and 2, I actually got in the game.
Right. Because that's not a guarantee at all.
No, it's not. So that's, I talk about it a lot, and you and I have spoken about it over on the radio side during spring training, but these games can get long, but I always feel good for these kids that get into the games because I know what it means to them.
Weeks gets tied up a little bit. 1-2.
Nuno looks like he has a pretty good breaking ball going tonight.
Nuno took over for Blake Parker, went 2/3 of an inning. Felix got the start tonight. 1 run, 3 hits over 4. Once Weeks was DFA'd last year by the Mariners, he never latched on with another team. That was in June. Was able to get a minor league deal with the Diamondbacks and invite to big league camp.
He's played well this spring. Came into the game hitting .435.
And tight to make it 2-2.
I can ask you the same question, by the way.
Terrified. Weeks right back to Nuno. No play to second as Owens was already taken off at number 2. It's not quite the same, but it sure felt like it at least.
Nuno, good athlete, thought about second, made the right choice, get the sure out at first, second out of the inning.
Owens into second base. We playing the top of the 7th, 2 outs. Diamondbacks by a couple. I remember that first Cactus League game like it was yesterday, Mike. Nobody's ever been more nervous for the charity game ever. I remember Kristen Orfia was in right field for the Padres, and I was convinced that I was going to butcher his name in the starting lineups. I think I just barely got it out clean, but you could almost hear the knees knocking the whole time.
You were practicing for an hour before the game just on that name.
In front of the mirror. 0-2.
What's the best part of spring training for you? What do you like the best about it?
That's a good question.
Outside of the weather.
Of course. And some good food here in Arizona. You know, I really like being able to see so many players. You really get a good sense as to who these guys are here in spring training. Much more relaxed. Let their guard down a little bit. Don't have quite the same pressures. Of course, you can speak to that better than anybody of the regular season. That's not to say that guys aren't competing, because they certainly are, especially some guys for a spot. But there's a lot of good humor that can take place in spring training, and it's fun to see these guys in this environment, because we know that once the team gets to Arlington in early April, a different gear gets put in play, and this is a really fun, relaxed environment it's a joy to be around.
Right.
You?
I think for me now, there are a couple of things that are fun for me. One, I really enjoy sitting back or standing away. You and I the other day were standing on the field watching, but I really enjoy watching these guys, the best of the best, go out in the morning and work on their infield practice when they're throwing the ball around the infield and doing that. It's always a reminder for me just how good they are. You know, at times they're going to make errors and things don't look that good. But when you go and watch them practice, it's pretty amazing the things that they can do.
You can't get any closer to that than you can here in Peoria.
That's exactly right.
Nuno, a strikeout. Time to stretch.
The
Here from Peoria. Glad you can join us for Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines. Diamondbacks 4, Mariners 2. Cole Minter back up on the mound for Arizona. Well, they might look relaxed, but this has been a long day for this Mariners coaching staff. Split squad today, earlier in surprise, a 5-4 loss against the Royals. Taijuan Walker, 1 run, 4 strikeouts over 5 innings. Seager picked up an RBI, went 2 for 4. First at bat here for Austin Cousins, taking over for Leonis Martin at the top of the order and at center field. Tell you what, Mike, one guy that's really impressive, a new member of this coaching staff, bench coach Tim Bogar. Bogar was a little under the weather, feeling better at least today, the last couple of days actually. But this is somebody, Mike, that I think we all kind of assumed was going to get the job in Texas after Ron Washington stepped down. He was the interim guy and did really fine work for the Rangers. They played well underneath him.
There's Tim next to Edgar.
Ended up not getting that position. Of course, he went to Jeff Bannister. Worked out all right for Texas. They win the division. Bannister against Manager of the Year. but instead spent last year in the front office working alongside Jerry Dipoto with the Angels. One quick hop low down to the shoot tops. Owings able to gather for out number 1. But Bogart really seems to be in step with what Scott Service is doing, what Jerry Dipoto wants to do. And this is a really talented baseball mind. The bench coach is a position that can get overlooked pretty easily. It can be kind of a vague position, I think, to a lot of baseball fans. But the Mariners, they've got a good one here in Bogart.
And he basically has run a lot of the camp for Scott Service as far as the scheduling part of it. And the thing that comes to mind for me is just organized. It is on time everywhere they're at, and they get things done.
Marte, a stiff running bunt, takes O'Brien off the bag and wins the foot race.
Well, he was trying to drag this bunt with him, take it with him, and he wanted to get it more out towards the second baseman. Unfortunately, it was right at the first baseman. As Aaron mentioned, he bunted it firm, and that's what he wanted to do, to get it past the pitcher, but he wanted it more towards the second baseman than the first baseman. Good idea. Well, I was impressed. I think I was here for the second or third day, and Tim came into the office where I was sitting, and this is 7:45 in the morning, right before Scott Service was going to have his meeting with the media. And he was laying everything out there for Tim Hevley to get things ready for the day. He showed up here at 5 o'clock in the morning. So think about 5 o'clock this morning and his second ball game, and he'll be right back here at 5 again.
There's another game tomorrow.
Yep. And we'll have it for you at 1 o'clock.
That's right. Taking on the Indians. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cano.
But I think that we talk about the players all the time. I think the coaching staff, they really have to be looking forward to the start of the season.
More than anybody, you're right.
And I think it helps now because they're starting to trim this roster down. 3 more cuts yesterday. I believe that ended up getting them to 46, but they started off with 60 players in camp.
Slice foul, 1-2.
And especially for a new staff, because it's not just their big league club they're trying to put together, but they're also gathering information and watching all the top prospects and everybody that was invited to camp that aren't even going to be here, because they have to learn all of those guys too, outside of the reports that they get. It's a lot.
Line drive, fair ball, right field. Orenstein over towards the corner, and Cano in his 4th at bat. It's a single to right field. He's hit the ball hard tonight and finally rewarded for it. That's going to be it for Cano. We got a pinch runner coming in.
Tyler Smith. We'll take another look at the swing by Cano, and this is something that I have noticed throughout the spring. 1, he's having some really good at-bats, but 2, he has pulled the ball with authority for the most part of this spring. He did line out to left field once tonight, but for the most part, he is doing a really good job of turning on the baseball.
I mentioned earlier, hit that one, a laser that was caught by O'Brien at first base back in the 5th. 2 outs for Cruz. Firm ground ball. Ahmed over to first base. Smith stranded after running for Cano. That'll be it through 7 innings. Mariners trailing by 2. Glad you could join us as always. It's Mariners Spring Training presented by Delta Airlines.
Diamondbacks still up 4-2. Take a look there. Dan the Man, Dan Wilson, the Mariners minor league catching coordinator. Of course, longtime catcher here in Seattle.
Looks like he's on about third pack
Mr.
of
Valley.
seeds.
Yeah, about eighth
right.
inning, it's about third pack, right?
Just popping them in their mouth.
I like that. Brad Adam along with Mr. Valley, also a longtime catcher with Seattle, other teams. All right, Chris Iannetta, new catcher for the Mariners with the Angels last couple of years, not playing tonight, but a couple of years ago finished almost last in the major leagues in pitch framing, a new stat that the analytical people really like. Realize the importance last year, one of the best in baseball at pitch framing. Can you first, Val, explain what exactly it is and how a catcher can do it?
Well, I think the best way to start it is it's about receiving the baseball. In the old days, it was about, does a guy have soft hands? But nowadays, it's more about presenting the baseball to the umpire. So there are a couple of things that go into this. One, I want to make sure that the umpire has a good view and a good look at every pitch that I'm catching. Number two, whatever strikes are thrown, I want to make sure I get those. And then maybe I can get a pitch a little bit off the plate by being very calm out there, receiving the baseball. The good catchers are still. There's not a lot of movement. Think of Jesus Montero a few years back when he first got there. There was a lot of movement there, and I think that's why he struggled behind the plate. But the good catchers are presenters of the baseball, presenters of the strike first, and because you're so quiet, the umpire has a good look, you want to have everything starting to come in towards the center of the plate. The fact that we have the technology today, it is something that catchers are more aware of, and they're actually getting paid because they can do that, because technology is showing that they're getting all the strikes that are thrown and maybe a couple of pitches off the plate.
So when the pitcher always talks about, the catcher says, yeah, I want you to throw it to the mitt, throw it to where it is. Now, also, is it where you receive the ball in the mitt? Because sometimes you can steal it by catching it, not just in the pocket, right, but maybe in the webbing, just without moving the glove too much, right?
Right, and it's tougher on a guy like Felix Hernandez, who pitched tonight, because his ball moves so much. On a guy that throws a nice four-seamer, yeah, you can kind of play with that, but you have to be careful if you're just trying to catch that tough sinker that Felix throws in the web. There's a couple of balls that are going to get past you, and you're going to end up getting pass balls.
How much conversation is there between catcher, umpire during the game? Like if it's a strike, you probably don't say anything, but if it's a ball, do you ask where it was, what can you do differently, or is there a lot of conversation?
There is, and any good catcher back there is going to have a building of a relationship with the umpire. You're going to first talk about what, like in spring training, hey, how was your winter? What'd you do? Are you a deer hunter? Are you a fisherman? All those type of things. But that kind of builds rapport. But now all of a sudden the game's on the line, and there's a good pitch that I think is a strike. I have the ability now, because I've been talking with them back and forth, like saying, hey, I thought that was a good pitch. I need to have that one. Okay, all right, Val, I'll give it a better look next time. That's the response that you're after, because they can't change the call, but maybe that next one might be a little bit further off, and you still get it because you have this relationship going on.
Val, always good relationships with you, my friend. Nice quick inning for the Mariners. They're done, and we're done as well. We move now to the bottom of the eighth inning. Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines.
It's on to the bottom of the 8th here in Peoria. Diamondbacks leading the Mariners 4-2. A limited number of tickets remain to join in the fun and excitement of Mariners opening night on April 8th. Usher in the 2016 season by welcoming home Felix, Robbie, and your favorite Mariners. All fans will receive a free magnetic schedule courtesy of Safeco Insurance. Tickets, as always, at mariners.com. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, it's Caleb Fleck. Fleck takes over for Josh Colminter. Looks like he'll face Dalton Kelly here. Kelly took over for Lind at first base. Dalton Kelly coming up for minor league camp. Made his pro debut last year here in Arizona and rookie ball. Why not? Jump on the first pitch.
I like it. Be aggressive. Get a chance. Your one at bat for the evening after being called up. May as well swing it, right?
That's right. And we were talking about how today was a split squad. Earlier activity today and surprise against the Royals. Mariners lost that one 5-4. Taijuan Walker pitched well, however. 4 punch-outs over 5 innings, just 1 run allowed. Deep one hopper and a bullet to first, but not dug out. Kelly aboard. Nice way for Dalton Kelly to start things off in the bottom of the 8th inning. Today was the final scheduled split squad as we take another look at this up the middle.
Hopefully they give him a hit.
And Mike, we're coming up as we were talking about how tired these guys must be, especially the coaches. Tuesday, the first scheduled off day of spring training.
Right.
Which I don't. You can speak to this better than I can. I believe the Mariners only have 2 in spring training this year, and this has been a long grind for these guys up until what will be their first off day coming up after the 20th of the month.
For me, I would prefer to get, if I'm going to get 2 days, I would prefer to get them the way that they're getting them.
Late?
Yeah. And maybe the coaches would disagree. We talked about their schedule, but I think for the players, because they're managed so well, Aaron, it's, for example, you have Cano and Cruz in the lineup tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to play tomorrow, probably.
Right.
So they come in, they get their workout in, and then they go home. So I think for the players, you'd rather have it later.
Otherwise, it's kind of like the Seahawks getting their bye week, week 4.
I guess.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, one way to look at it.
Well, I mean, I think you bring up a good point. When we think about the Mariners' first off day, not until Tuesday for the entire spring training. Well, that's as a collective group, but this is a little unlike the regular season where not every guy's playing every game. And you can still come in, get some work done, and get home at a reasonable time, and you're not playing every day.
Well, and I can also tell you, as a player, when the schedule would come out, I would look at the schedule, and I didn't like having a bunch of off days in April.
Sure.
I felt good in April. I was ready to go. Give me some of those days off in August.
Right. Two to Barron.
Right off the top of the screen. I think you were going to have to make a play on that one, Aaron.
Heartbeat never changed, Blow.
Your chair was already moving.
The laptop was closed. If I set the monitor up just right, I can still call the game from under the desk.
And have your own screen.
That's right. Jammed into the dirt. Over to second one. First base, not in time. One out, Barron able to leg it out.
We'll take a look at it. Second baseman, as Aaron mentioned, moving to his left. Pretty good exchange by the shortstop, though. Strong throwing arm.
Another at bat for Efrain Navarro. He's driven in both Mariners runs tonight, including a home run in the fourth into the bullpen in right field. We mentioned that tomorrow we'll be back on the airwaves. 1:10 first pitch against the Indians. It'll be Wade Miley who will take the ball tomorrow for the Mariners. Acquired this offseason from the Red Sox. Rowanus Elias, Carson Smith in exchange for Miley. We'll also have a chance, at least what the schedule tells us in terms of relievers tomorrow, to see Steve Cishek pitch. It was good to see Cishek, Mariners' new closer, get up on the mound and work a really clean 1-2-3 inning the other day. Just having some bicep tightness. Looks like things there are pretty straightened out.
I had a chance to watch him throw his bullpen before you mentioned the outing he had, and I thought he looked really good.
We'll have a chance to talk about it more tomorrow when we see him in person, but that delivery that he has, Mike, that can really mess with some right-handed hitters especially.
Well, I would agree. And I think, you know, for me watching him, I certainly as a right-handed hitter would not enjoy that at bat. But the main thing for him right now is have a good outing and come off the mound feeling good and healthy and take another step forward.
Sure. On Monday, the Mariners will be in Glendale to take on the Dodgers. Iwakuma will be up on the mound that day for the Mariners. And, you know, Mike, just listing off these names, of course, Felix today. Felix going 4 innings, a run, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts. Taiwan threw the ball well, it looks like, just judging by the numbers today in surprise against the Royals. And this spring training, this camp for the Mariners in a position that we really haven't seen in recent years, starting pitching depth, and that's nice to see.
And they pitched well.
You're right.
They pitched well down here in the spring. Nate Carnes yesterday, although at times I thought he struggled with his command, he made some big pitches to get out of some innings. Had a couple of double plays turned behind him.
Navarro caught looking.
Looking forward to seeing James Paxton in his next outing. Struggled in his last one. He pitched well up to that point. Struggled in it. See him bounce back and have a good outing.
It's interesting for Paxton that last time out. First 2 innings, first 2 batters, not a problem. And it was after that. And he seemed to talk about afterwards having maybe some minor issues pitching out of the stretch, getting things sped up a little bit as Lucas looks at ball 1.
That's part of the process in spring training. That's why I'm looking forward to his next outing. Hopefully he'll get that figured out. Some flat ground work and some bullpen sessions and get all that taken care of.
I think something that's so important to keep in perspective when we're talking about Paxton and Carnes. You look at their age in their latter part of their 20s. You would think it's a veteran pitcher compared to somebody like a Taijuan Walker, 22, 23 years old. Both Paxton and Carnes, for their major league career, have roughly 32 starts. I mean, they have the equivalent of a regular season's amount of starts in Major League Baseball. As Luke is able to park it into right field. The Mariners have 2 on and 2 out. I think the important note there, Mike, and I'm interested in your thoughts on it, is that experience, or the opposite of that, youth in baseball. I mean, it's not just the age. Right?
No,
it's not just when you were born. It's your experience level. You can be 28 years old and have 32 starts in Major League Baseball, And you're a young pitcher, which I think is kind of difficult for some people to understand at first glance.
The experience comes from the time that you're on the field, Aaron. That's where you get the experience.
Both those guys still relatively young pitchers in that regard.
Zach Schenk going to pinch run for Ed Lucas, who, by the way, had a good night. 3 hits for Lucas tonight.
You're right. 3 for 4. Alex Jackson, second at bat. Now, Jackson, if you ask the good people over at Baseball America, the #1 prospect in the Mariners system. We saw him get a couple of at-bats last year in Cactus League play. I want to talk about youth. Jackson, 20 years old, 6th overall in the 2014 draft. Went to Clinton last year. Struggled some, as we were talking about. Went down to Everett. Numbers increased some. Young player, learned the ropes of the minors. With a lot of expectations, too. Even if you're playing in showcase games like Jackson no doubt did, Mike, there's got to be a huge difference between some showcase game pitchers in high school and facing guys even in the low minors, even in Clinton.
Well, sometimes, if you think about it, those are where a lot of the prospects are. And for him, as you mentioned, I'm sure that he did. He played in all the select games in high school and the showcase games and all of that stuff. But you're going to see a guy throw 92 every now and then. All of a sudden, you're seeing that every guy that is walking out there is throwing at least 92. And probably half of them don't have a real good idea where it's going. So it's an adjustment.
Jackson frozen. 2 runners left for the Mariners with the 8 innings. Go to the 9th here from Peoria. Glad you could join us for Mariners Spring Training presented by Delta Airlines. Diamondbacks lead it by a couple.
Presented by Delta. Arizona on top 4-2 as we head to the 9th. And hello there. Thanks for sticking around and watching. And watching now, it's Brad Adam here at the Forward Sports Desk. We hope you're still watching out there. And we're now 8 broadcasts in Mariners Spring Training presented by Delta Airlines here on Root Sports. That means there are still 8 more to go. That's right, 16 in all before opening day, April 4th in Arlington. Here's a look at our upcoming broadcast schedule. Back on the air, me and Val tomorrow. Indians visit Peoria. It's 1 o'clock start. Wade Miley on the mound. After that, the A's come to town on Wednesday night, followed by a 1 p.m. game on Friday against the Chicago White Sox. That's what's next. The 3 next upcoming games on TV. 8 more to go on Root Sports. Then we've got, of course, the season opener in Texas. And Aaron and Mike got a new pitcher to talk about for the 9th inning, guys.
You got that right. Thank you, Brad. It's Joel Peralta. And we'll work things here in the 9th inning for the Mariners. Down by 2 to the Diamondbacks. Second time these two teams have met this spring. Socrates Brito has had a nice night offensively. Reached base 3 times, a single, a triple, a walk, and a run scored. Now, Peralta pretty intriguing for the Mariners, pretty interesting. Never been a power pitcher. Entering his age 40 season, 89, 90 miles an hour last year with the Dodgers. Has a good curveball as well. Battled some shoulder and neck issues last season in Los Angeles. It's ahead 0-2.
He is definitely going to mix things up. We've seen a lot of him over the years. Talking to Jerry DiPoto the other day, and he's been impressed with the work that he has done here in the spring. He's in the mix.
Three pitches, all strikes. Gets it past him at 90 miles an hour. Nice start for Peralta.
Well, he set him up for this fastball. It was a curveball and then a changeup, and now 90 miles an hour, and ties him up with it. Well located fastball. General Manager Jerry DiPoto. Seen him in that seat for every game.
You're right. 1 out for Ahmed. Starting shortstop for the Diamondbacks. And, you know, Mike, not to make too big of a deal out of this, but I do think it's something that's worth noting because fans don't get to see the behind the scenes here in Peoria, but we really get the impression in our first really days with this new regime in Seattle that this is a really hands-on group. We know that Scott Service is big on communication. Really learned that as a farm director during his times with the Texas Rangers. Oversaw some really successful farm systems that helped the Rangers get to back-to-back World Series. You look at Jerry DiPoto in his first year as Mariners general manager. We see him behind home all the time as a little bit of a wild throw as Ahmed will get it safely. And then the one that's really kind of behind the scenes, Andy McKay, who now has the job with the Mariners that Scott Service had with the Rangers, overseeing the Mariners farm system. Andy McKay is in uniform every day as minor league camp got underway and minor league games have started being played. And Scott Service was a guy when he was a farm director with the Rangers. He was a guy in uniform in the dugouts. But I don't think that's true about every farm director.
No, it's rare, really.
Yeah.
It's unusual to see that happen, but you know, for these guys, when you get down to that level with the minor leagues, and if you think about scouting, especially the really good scouts, they get to know the players more than just what they're seeing on the field, and this gives them an opportunity to be in the dugout, how they react to situations, how they treat their teammates, how they react to what the manager is saying to them or the coaching staff. That's the best way to do it, I think. Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, Andy McKay told us that when he makes his visits over the course of the season from one minor league affiliate to the other, whether it be in Tacoma or to Clinton or to Everett, he will be in uniform. He will be in the dugout. He'll have conversation with the managers, the coaches, the players. He's not going to be somebody who's up in the press box.
And I can tell you just from my experience when I was going through the minor leagues that we would see them. They would come in. Typically, they're in the manager's office. Then the next time you see them is they're up in the stands somewhere watching. So it's unusual. It's different.
Seems like the right approach.
I'm just waiting. They might take us live if there's a break in the
Top of the ninth, 1 out, 1 on. Diamondbacks leading by 2. Ground ball. Nice diving stop by Kelly to Peralta. Dalton Kelly flashing a little bit of leather as Ahmed advances into second.
He was the only one that was going to be able to catch this ground ball because with the runner going, the second baseman was running to second to cover, and there you can see it. And Kelly, aware of that, making the diving play. Easy feed for Peralta. Peralta liked the effort. There you go. A veteran major league reliever giving you a high five over there. That's pretty good.
Peralta's basically twice the age. Peralta's 39. Kelly about 21. 2 outs, a man at second base. Tag, got him. Sardinia's on the receiving end. Make quick work of Ahmed at second base. Go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Peralta looking pretty spry at 39. Zipping it back to the bag. Last call for the Mariners, down by 2. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Hoping for a 9th inning Mariners rally and maybe a couple of autographs to go along with it. Great crowd on hand here tonight, 11,319. And once again, a very happy birthday to Tim Hevley. Mariners baseball information there. Thumbs up, Tim. Now, Tim's working 18 innings today, as we mentioned earlier.
That's right.
The earlier day game.
Both games.
We tried to convince him to take tonight off. He wasn't having it.
You know, and I believe for Tim, because he's in charge of everything here in the complex and making sure that everybody's where they need to be, he has to be here really early in the morning. And then after the games are over, the reports are done, Tim is getting started for tomorrow.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I was joking with him
So the rest
today.
of the guys in the office need to give him a break. It's his birthday, and after this one's over, he needs to get in his car and go home.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
He's been down here a long time.
We all appreciate the work that he puts in.
Seriously speaking, the Mariners PR department is hands down the best in baseball.
Yeah, I agree. Make our jobs a lot easier.
Quality of communication, the game notes from the media guide, everything. It's a day-to-day grind, and they are the best at it. Start things off at the bottom of the 9th inning. This is Austin Cousins. And we were talking about Jerry DiPoto, Mike, and Andy McKay being in uniform, DiPoto being down right behind home. I think the interesting note with all of this is that it kind of flies in the face of this reputation that Jerry DiPoto has as strictly a numbers guy, strictly an advanced analytics guy. I mean, normally, if you're a saber-driven general manager, you're not going to be sitting behind home down at first base in time for round number 1. You're not going to be eyes on the game from 10 feet behind home plate every single game. You're not going to have your farm director in uniform every single day. I think Jerry, for as smart as he is, and to a man, everybody on this staff says Jerry DiPoto is the smartest guy I've been around. I mean, truly speaking, we've heard that from a number of Mariners coaches. I mean, he has an ex-player's mentality, a scouting mentality, and I think you're seeing the marriage of the two come together nicely.
I think that you're right. He was funny the other day when we had him in the booth, and He was nice enough to stay for an inning, and I could tell he couldn't wait to get back down into his seat.
It's too far away.
But I told him when everything was over with and we went to commercial break, I said, that's the longest I've seen you in one spot all spring, because you see him here in the mornings, and he's in Scott's office. He'll bounce around all over the place, and he was telling me, he said, yeah, I'd like to come in, see the guys, talk to them real quick, boom, move on to something else. But he's not putting any extra pressure on the guys, but he's getting to know all of them, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Because he and I in the hallways, it's just like we're crossing all the time, and it's a quick hello, and he's off to wherever he's going.
I think the bottom line is that, not that it would be necessarily a bad thing to be coined as an advanced metrics-driven general manager. And certainly there are a number of young people in that position who've been hired because of that. I think the bottom line with Jerry is that he seems to have found the proper balance between the two, and he's talked about that publicly since being hired by the Mariners as their new general manager. Mariners down to their final out. Benji Gonzalez strung up. And even if he makes it look easy, I'm not sure, Mike, how many guys there are in the game who can do that very well, to be able to marry the two. And another point along those lines is that the Mariners have hired more scouts for this season.
Well, and it's one of the things that I've heard a lot of is you have a guy that is one or the other, and then the organizations want them to hire the other piece to it. So to have somebody like Jerry that can cross over on both sides of it, you mentioned as a player and his reputation with the numbers, it's rare. You just don't see that very often, because if you talk to most people in the game, it's going to be one or the other, and then bring the other side with you. Hire outside. Go get those guys.
Mm-hmm. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tyler Smith. Oh, Mike, it's getting late. It's about that time. Used to the day games.
Yep, that's it.
Is it that cold out now? Two and two.
Even if it's not, Aaron, you're not going to sleep without your blankie. I know that.
You know me too well, Mike. Take it everywhere. Here comes the 2-2. That'll be all she wrote tonight. Diamondbacks win this one 4-2. Mike, the story in this one, obviously the king.
Strong outing for Felix. I thought the adjustment that he talked about wanting to make before the game of commanding his fastball, he was able to do that. Excellent curveball and changeup again today. He looked excellent, so that was good to see. And then the kids, I thought, played pretty well overall. Ed Lucas today with 3 hits.
Mariners fall here tonight 4-2. We'll be with you again tomorrow, 1:10 the first pitch here from Peoria against the Tribe. It'll be Wade Miley on the mound for the Mariners. Glad you could join us along with the over 11,000 strong in attendance. You've been watching Mariners spring training presented by Delta Airlines.